Time. Leisure time. Did you ever stop to think how much leisure time you really have? Some of us put our leisure time to good use. And some of us, Ken Michaels, for example, spend most of our leisure time just moping.
Moping? He thinks I'm moping. Well, who wouldn't mope? There's nothing to do, nobody's around. You know how it is. I went down to the bowling alley, went over to the drugstore. None of the gang was there. All my friends are busy, so what's for me to do?
Do you suppose Ken has more leisure time than his friends do?
Huh? Well, no, I don't have more time. We all spend about the same amount of time in school, and the rest is leisure time. I've got nothing to do but wait for supper. My friends have more things to do. They're lucky.
Ken's pretty lucky, too.
Listen to that. All right, I'll bite. Why am I lucky?
Because you have so much leisure time. Time in which you can do things you enjoy. Time in which you don't have to work.
Like this, huh? Is that good?
Let me show you a few things. Suppose you had lived 100 years ago. What would you have been like? Take a look.
Where? Oh, is that me? Is that what I would have looked like 100 years ago?
Well, perhaps. But now, well, let's look back 100 years again and see someone else.
Who? Hey, that's my dad.
Young man, you get off that bed and get to work. After you clean out the stable, you can build some new steps for the back porch. While I work 72 hours a week, no son of mine is going to loaf.
72 hours?
12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Tomorrow morning, young man, you're going out to get a regular job. You can work too, and earn your keep.
Not so good, Ken? Well, let's try another picture. Say about 50 years ago.
Oh, hello, son. Well, say, I've got some new pictures for the stereoscope. We'll look at them tonight. Don't forget about your chores. Have them all done by the time I'm through work. And keep the woodbox full.
Boy, how long will you work, Dad?
Why, 10 hours. 10 hours a day, every day except Sunday.
60 hours a week? Boy.
Well, Ken, let's take a look at your father's time as it really is today.
Hi, Dad. You sure don't work as long hours as they used to.
That's right, Ken. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do so much work in so little time. This 40-hour week suits me fine. And some people even work shorter hours nowadays. By the way, Ken, how'd you like to play a quick round of golf before supper? I think we can work it in. And then later I'd like to shellac that new bookcase I'm making.
Well, Ken?
Yes, Dad does enjoy his leisure time. And to think that a few years ago, people didn't have nearly so much time to themselves.
Yes, we've gained a lot of leisure time in the last century.
This will be a quick one, I think. Wait, hold on. There we go. Okay. So Sigma, I think that's a compliment, right? I choose to interpret it as such. I don't know how else to interpret these. I'm kidding. I need to be more in touch with the youth. I think? I don't know. Do I have to? I don't think I have to. So long as I can... It shouldn't be that hard. It really is just a few phrases, isn't it? Jacket today, yes. Jacket today because, I think Do you think? I think jacket works. I think jacket works for therapy. Or would this be better? Or would they Hmm. 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 Jacket is down. Need the outermost layer. Do you wonder if this is all therapy? Maybe this. I suppose we'll be indoors. Dream play. No, no. If you have to present, you mean you have to? You might be present in spirit. You don't have to. You can just come back and visit the VOD. Please pay attention. Please pay attention to ethics. Quite important. Come back to the VOD later. I know you're here, Tara. It's fine. But please leave. Please leave now. To attend class and pay attention to it. Is there anything I'd like to say? Not really. Other than the fact that the art thumbnail is once again made by Art Team. Thank you, Art Team. That's c.c.mochi at Instagram. I put it. It's always at the end. It's always in the description. But again, would like to stress that I couldn't have made this. I don't make things. So this is Art Team. Thank you, Art Team. I don't know if our team. I think our team's a little busy today, so our team might not pop in stream. She might. I don't know. But if she does, please make sure to say your gratitudes to the people that actually deserve it. It's not me. I didn't do anything. What I did was I asked for it. That's what I did. That's all I did was ask for it. I'm a little cold. Maybe I want to put a coat on. I'm gonna go put a coat on. Be right back. Okay, so therapy today, therapy this week, actually. That's kind of the theme, I guess. We're gonna be playing this mainly. I know I scheduled 2 streams, one for today, one for Saturday. And on Thursday we're doing a reading, a man's search for meaning. That's what we're doing. That I've scheduled these, and I might do more. I don't think I'll do less than these streams, but I might do more to just get the sessions in succession. That way it's a little easier for me to keep track of what's going on, and it's just a good flow, right? I ideally also don't want the streams to be too long. That might be hard to sit through, so maybe I'm going to try to aim for like 3 hours. Something to that length. Yes. And yeah, schedule for the week that comes on Tuesday, and starting stream 10 minutes later than I scheduled for. These are things you've come to expect. There's no point in trying to say it won't happen next time, because it will. So not much to comment on there. All right, who's ready for therapy? I'm ready for therapy. So, well, I'm ready to administer therapy. That's what I'm here to do, I believe. Oh yes, also the thumbnail art is so good. I'm going to be using this until at least the end of until at least October. I might as well get the vampire art. I might as well push it. I might as well push the mileage of it to its limit. I need to use the thumbnail art a lot. It's too good. Eight-hour streams. No, 8-hour streams. I can't do 8-hour streams. It's like, okay, I can do them, but they're so daunting. I can't imagine, like, they're so daunting to click on, to see, to just, at least not while it's live, but once it's done, going back into an 8-hour stream is very daunting to people, I think. At least I would imagine it would be. It would be daunting for me. And people may not necessarily have the time for that. So I think it's easier to divide it in smaller chunks of streams so that people are less intimidated by the length of it and will click on it. I could stream for 8 hours theoretically if needed, but I just don't think they are. I don't know. I think everyone, including you guys, would prefer shorter streams but more streams. I think that's what works. Unless it's specifically like a game session, like for Papers, Please, where I just had to sit down and finish it, and it would be better for me to just finish it all in one run, all in one go, than to like split it up into chunks or something. Another VTuber I watch also did a 6-hour Papers, Please stream, so I was quite delighted to find out that that length is like that's kind of the optimal time length. All right, enough talking and taking away from the time that we have left. Let's move over here now. Might be a little loud. Please work, 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 please work. Is it fine now? I think it's fine. Deep breaths to help this, but I do need the stream to actually run. That would be preferable. So long as it's fine. Seems fine now. Okay. All right. Great. Excellent. Vampire therapist time. Is it? Hold on. Now it's vampire therapist time. Alright, I think I'm gonna have to move you away for a bit. You'll come back. You'll come back. Okay. Right. Wonderful. Vampire Therapist, everyone, welcome. This is a game about ministering CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. That's what it stands for, nothing else. To characters, vampires, who are immortal. They don't die. And that's quite interesting. Because mortality is one of the things we must grapple with as humans. I say we, very loosely, but we builds a sort of sense of camaraderie as if I am one of you. So I think that works for these purposes. Therapy. And so with it being about, or rather with it being in service to immortal beings, I will say that a lot of what we will see today, and in some of these streams going forward, may not apply strictly to us, I would presume. I don't know. Perhaps I may be immortal as well. We'll see. But I'm not taking my chances. I don't know about you. I do not like taking those odds. Okay. Parrot's grounded right now. He got a little too wild during Paris, please. Yeah. I feel like he would be. He's kind of interrupting the therapy. And I think it would scare away the clients. I think when we were in Arstotzka stamping things, it was kind of okay for Parrot to speak in my ear. The insanity doesn't matter too much to the clients anyways, because they just need to get their thing stamped. Here I think it would matter a little more. I think I want to create a more serene, peaceful environment. And so that is what I'll do. For the vampires. And I think coping with immortality is in some sense maybe even more difficult than coping with immortality. We'll see, we'll see. Last season of What We Do in the Shadows comes out in a month. Does it now? I haven't watched it, but I've heard my friends talk about it. Okay. Alright, let's begin, let's begin. No more stalling. Let's begin. Vampire Therapist explores or touches on sensitive topics such as war, abuse, addiction, sexual oppression, suicidal ideation, religion, and of course death. These may be uncomfortable or upsetting for some readers. We recommend that readers with a history of trauma related to any of these topics approach the game with caution. Naturally, a game about vampires will also involve blood and sexual themes. Strong language is also present. Vampire Therapist was developed in consultation with licensed therapists, but it should not be considered a substitute for therapy unless you're a vampire. Okay. Yeah, everything seems clear. Good warning note for everyone who's new to the stream, I guess. If not, you'll click on it anyways without seeing it. But you probably come to expect these things from a game called Vampire Therapist. I know I did, and so let's begin.
My name is Sam Walls, and I'm a dead man. Well,
Hello, Sam.
kinda dead at least. See, I'm a vampire.
Then you're not dead.
Now, if you think that means all that Dracula hooey, like hissing, wearing skin-tight leather, and hunting mortals for sport, I wouldn't blame you one bit. That's exactly the sort of thing I did in my younger years with my former gang. And let me tell you, a vampire who's good with a gun can be a real terror. I got lucky, though. I met some kind mortals who saw beyond my fangs. They taught me my letters and showed me how my thinking was keeping me from finding any kind of peace.
Sounds like we're off
After
to a
they
good
passed
start.
on, I roamed America's majestic wilderness for nigh on 90 years, figuring out myself and what it means to be a vampire. And I found revelation. What I realized was, it ain't fangs that make us monsters. It's the self-defeating ways we think. Anywho, as the world started getting smaller, my old vampire gang tracked me down. Them being my kin, I wanted to help them see the world like I did, but they still have the same monster mindset I used to have. Good thing I'm a quick draw. But I got hooked up with this newfangled internet thing and found a vampire who's helping my kin find their way. Fella named Andromachos. Supposed to be 3,000 years old.
3,000? That's a lot of years.
He invited me to come out to Europe to learn from him. I figure someone older than time has got to have the answers.
I don't know if he's older than time,
I'm
though.
going on a trip, I guess. This feels like my opportunity to do some good in the world. I've been lucky, and now it's time to give back. Vampires ain't monsters. Or at least, They don't have to be. And come hell or high water, I'm gonna prove it to them.
Vampire therapist. Who's the therapist? Is it the vampire that's a therapist, or the therapist for the vampires? Or I guess it's both. You play as a vampire therapist?
Well, I think this is the address. Number 27.
I suppose we play as Sam.
Clean Flitter Mouse Streeb?
You know, I couldn't read that either. It's alright, Sam.
Sure is a hell of a lot of ruckus for this time of night. People stay up late here.
Is this the music in the therapist's office? Bit loud for my taste. Hold on, let me just adjust this. Okay. You're wilding in there. What's up with that? Okay. That's fine.
Wait a minute. These folk are vampires. Better watch myself.
You're a vampire? What do you mean?
Guten Abend, folks. Sprechen Sie English?
Ja, hello, Alta. Are you here to party with us at the hottest club?
No, that's not what we're here for. Although that, I'm sure you guys are having a lot of fun. You seem to have a lot of fun, but that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. Ask about the dress code. We're here to look for Andromachus.
I'm looking for Andromachus.
Andromachus.
You mean the club owner? Ja, satisfied.
The club owner? That was not the impression I was under. I have been given false information. Oh no, they're hot. I know, right? Brian, I know you supposedly can teach psychology with a philosophy degree, but use your acting as an actual psychologist is ethical. To answer both of those questions, or to answer the premise and the question that followed, no. You cannot teach psychology with a philosophy degree. That's not how it works. And is it ethical to act like an actual psychologist? No. Like or a therapist? No. No, it's not. Neither of these things are good and true. For people, well, we're here for vampires, so it's totally different, and I'm void of any legal repercussions, right? Legal team? I hope legal team is here too. Legal team is also our team. I hope legal team is here to make sure that's the case, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
If you're lucky, he will invite us to the private party at the end of the night.
What?
Well, what happens there?
I think maybe it is too kinky for Americans to hear.
Can you just say it's therapy? Because if it's not, you don't have to tell me. I don't need to know if it's not therapy. I really don't need to know. That's not what I'm here for. Okay, tell me about the club.
What's so special about this club?
Immernacht is the greatest club
Immernacht.
aller Zeiten. The owner makes sure everyone has a good time.
If anyone acts without respect, they are banned from the club forever. You are free to do and be whatever you like, as long as you are harming no one.
That's fair. I think. Yeah,
And
that's
I hear
good.
that they are now attracting sexy old cowboys.
Shh, Maxie, he is old enough to be your grandfather.
Oh, come on now. You're just flattering me. I'm only a couple 100 years old.
Oh mein Gott, he is so cute, Reinhard. Can I keep him?
Let's
I
talk
don't
about the
think
dress
what I'm
code.
wearing will fit the dress code.
The cowboy look is total sexy, but you will get a bit sweaty.
I hope we will all get a bit sweaty.
I came in this uniform because this is all I wear, I believe, right?
Good thing
Right,
we run a
Sam?
little on the
Yes.
cold side, huh?
Don't worry, my Liebling. We make each other warm.
Reinhard, stop. Don't scare the American. I want to do that.
You're scaring me.
Maxie,
Please, can we just get to the
naughty
therapy?
tonight.
You can teach it to high school? Really? Interesting. I mean, teaching it is one thing, practicing it is another. But I didn't know you could. I mean, I suppose you could teach anything with a sufficient amount of academic pedigree. I don't know.
No, you are the naughty one.
Oh, I definitely ain't an American no more.
I'm here. I guess I'm here to party.
I can cut loose. What kind of party is this?
The kind where we dance all night and get sexy.
The usual, right. I see it's not very
you're the man
inspiring.
kind of vampires.
Ach so, there are better things to suck than blood, oder?
I know. Is it like a given that vampires are just very horny? Like, is that a thing? I know the whole thing about blood. I know that people tend Tumblr artists tend to sexualize old mythologies and concepts. But I wasn't really familiar with the history of vampires. The sexualization of them, I guess, at least. I mean, hot vampire is a trope, I guess. It is quite common. There are many TV shows and series and books and whatnot written about sexy vampires, so I guess that makes sense. It's just, I guess I never really put two and two together because I wasn't quite into that personally. I could have multiple wives? Okay. If you have to live that long, you'll probably you get bored of things that aren't hedonistic. You know what's interesting is I always thought it was the other way around. I thought once you lived long enough, you'll kind of not want to engage in the hedonism anymore. You'll kind of see how senseless it is and just pursue things of a higher order, maybe. I don't know. But something about being a vampire is different than, I guess, aging as a human. I don't know. Right, being adopted. The whole thing about them being adopted by LGBT people. I guess. I mean, okay. I guess I've just never. I'm not too familiar with it. I guess it's interesting. There's a line in the show. Became a vampire to suck blood and fuck forever, and that's pretty iconic in terms of vampire philosophy. Is it now? Okay. Vampirism is not for me. Although I do appreciate the immortality. I think that's interesting.
Although we have to get past the bouncer first. If we do not, I'm thinking our night is ruined.
Oh,
Get
wait
past
a
the
sec. There's
bouncer,
something about
okay.
what she just said. I can feel it.
I don't know what you're feeling, Sam. Tell me, what are you feeling?
It reminds me of one of my revelations about the funny patterns in the way we vampires think.
Oh, interesting.
Well, let's see. One type of thinking I noticed I called hot branding. That's when we brand ourselves with names we can't get rid of.
What does that mean?
There's high noon mind. That's when we treat a situation like it's a do or die showdown.
What?
And there's saloon thinking. That's when we act either helpless or invincible, like we've just drunk a pint of moonshine. I can always check my journal if I need examples. I kept all my notes about the funny ways we vampires think in there.
How do you think? Cowboybloodsucker@vmail.com. Make sure we return it there. Left stick to turn the page. I don't have left stick. How do I turn the page? That's how I turn the page. Found this old notebook and figured I'd take it with me to Europe. Figured it'll help me organize my thoughts separate into sections so I can jump to them right quick. That way when I need to get to a particular section of my notes, all I gotta do is hop over to that section. Easy as falling off a horse. And falling off a horse is real easy. Funny thinking. High noon mind is thinking in extremes, ignoring the in-between. That's what this is. I believe that's what this would classify as.
I think I know which one of them funny ways they're thinking in, though. Hold on, compadres. You seem like the kind who can make their own fun.
I don't want to have my own fun. Ebenacht is the only place to be on Friday night.
No, it's not.
Amigos, you're putting too much weight on this thing. It's a nightclub, not a high noon
Cognitive
showdown.
distortion
The night's full of
unlocked. Wonderful.
possibilities.
Reinhardt, I don't know what this means, but I like the way the sexy American talks.
You make us think that maybe it is better we haven't gotten into the club, because we are now meeting you.
Hey, if meeting me makes your night better, I'm glad we met.
I suppose so.
I really gotta find Andromachos, though.
I really do.
You have to get past the bouncer. He decides who gets in and who doesn't. And he hasn't looked halfway all night.
Maybe I'll have a little word with him. Excuse me, friend.
Whoa,
I
it's
hear
a very
you're the man to
intimidating
talk to
bouncer.
around these parts. I'm here to see Andromachos.
Andromachos.
Have fun, mate.
Hey, thanks, amigo. You have yourself a fine night, you hear?
Well, that worked out. Okay.
Cowboy, what about us?
Yeah, they can come
Yeah,
in.
sure, they're friends of mine.
Have fun, mate.
Well, come on, you two. We ain't got all night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, awful loud in here.
Very loud. Could we just, you know, is there
Come on, my liver, dance with us.
is this too loud? This is fine, right? Okay, okay.
Oh, you kids have fun. I'll catch up with you later. Tarnation, I'd rather hear a gopher giving birth than this. I better
Same.
talk to whoever's slinging drinks in this here saloon. They ought to know where Andromachos is. But pardon me,
Andromachos,
ma'am.
please.
Well, well, look at you. We get a lot of 80s fashion in here, but not usually the 1880s. What can I get you, cowboy? The special's Red Bull and vodka. You down?
Is that when vampires came to be in 1880? Red Bull and vodka? Sounds like a lot right now for this time of day, night. I'm presuming it's night, right?
I never drink Red Bull. I'm actually looking for the owner. He around tonight?
Might be. What do you say your name was?
Sam Walls, begging your
Sam
pardon.
Walls.
Sam Walls, huh? I don't think I know anything about a Sam Walls. After all, I'm just a know-nothing bartender.
Now why she gotta say she's a know-nothing? It gets my goat when vampires brand themselves like that. I think I'll say something. Well, hold on. What'd you just say?
I said I don't know any Sam Walls. I'm just a know-nothing bartender.
There's a lot more educational than I thought it would be, given the context, but I like it. Let's go to the cognitive distortions again. It's not a high, I believe it's a hot branding, isn't it? No, is it? It's calling ourselves names that do no good. I see. There it is.
From where I'm standing, I see someone with style and confidence, not just a drink machine. Don't go branding yourself like that's all you are.
Don't you go worrying about me, cowboy. The man upstairs warned me you were coming. I was just testing to see if you are who you say you are.
Why are you testing me? I'm just a cowboy.
Tell you what, let me give you something from our special reserve. I don't think you're looking for booze.
Well, thank you kindly, ma'am. I was wondering where the blood was. I met some vampires outside, so I figured this was a vampire club.
You met some gods, honey. They're here to dance and have fun.
Sure they are.
So all these people are mortals?
How do you think the head vampire gets his blood? They can't wait to share it with
Oh.
him. It's a special experience.
Oh, they're like people. Oh.
He's the only real vampire here. Well, him and Bert.
You're not one either? I mean, I suppose you look more goth than mythical. Okay.
Bert?
Bert.
You met him already. Bert, shuffle on over here.
Oh. Oh. Hello, Bert.
This one's here to see the big guy. Show him upstairs, okay?
Have fun, mate.
Good luck up there, cowboy. Hope you find what you're looking for.
A change of scenery. Finally.
Howdy. It's Sam Walls to see you, sir. The guy who's been sending you all them V-mails.
Yes, I know who you are, Samuel Walls.
That's
You
good.
have come here because you believe you can help our kin.
I think that's what I said, right? Right, Sam?
The question is, are you first able to help yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. Or is that a trick question? Yes.
I've been fixing myself for more than a century now. I don't think I need help.
That's not true. That's not what I said. I didn't say that.
Then you must prepare to learn a most difficult lesson.
Yeah, no. I can help myself, but I do need external help too. That's how it works, right? That's how it
We
works.
all need help, Samuel.
Yes.
I am pleased that you have come to receive mine.
That's right.
Dang, you scared the heck out of me.
You must allow an ancient vampire his games. He will play them regardless.
You do look ancient, Dromicus.
Please, sit down. What an absolute pleasure it is to meet you at last. I found your messages most intriguing.
Afraid there ain't much here in the way of intrigue. I'm just a lonesome cowboy looking for answers.
Me too, Sam. Me too. Well,
You know, I receive emails every day from vampires seeking my help. You are the very first to seek my aid in helping others. This alone makes you intriguing.
did I say that?
Well, dang. I think you're going to be sorely disappointed when you get to talking to me. I'm just honored you're giving me the time of night.
I suppose I
I
did.
have unlimited time, Samuel. I am pleased to share some of it with you. Our kind can be rather set in their ways. It is inspiring to see someone so young and eager to learn.
Yeah, well, I wasn't much for learning when I was alive. Just making up for lost time, I guess.
It sounds as though you have been handling your own life better than most. I was particularly intrigued by these revelations you had while walking in nature.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, them. Well, I give walking the credit. Nothing sorts my thoughts out better. After a few decades, I started seeing patterns in the way we vampires think.
Few decades, huh? I mean, though, it is self-discovery, I suppose.
Can you explain some of these patterns?
I've tried to explain them to other vampires, but it ain't never gone well. I can try, though. See, we tend to assume certain things just because we've been believing them since we were alive.
Look back at the screen, he's hot and you're mad. You have to buy this game now. It's a vampire game. They've been talking about sex all the way from the beginning of the game when you're outside the club. It's not at all why I bought the game, by the way. I bought this game because I thought it'd be a good educational experience. That's what I thought. Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Or we decide the world's against us just because we're hungry or tired or something. And when we start tackling problems that ain't real, we ain't fixing our real problems. That make any kind of sense?
Fascinating, Samuel. These revelations that you had in the woods, mortal psychologists have a term for them. They are called cognitive distortions.
Cognitive distortions. Right.
Cognitive whoozy what now?
Don't do that, Sam. Don't do that.
Cognitive distortions. They are exactly as you described them. I will explain in a moment. Please, tell me about these specific revelations you had.
I suppose you're saying this one first, right?
Well, I noticed how we stress ourselves out by making everything a battle of do-or-die absolutes. High noon mind, I call it. Like that feeling you get right before a big shootout.
I must confess I have no experience with this feeling. I engaged in mortal combat long before the age of gunpowder. But the sentiment you describe mirrors the words of my old friend Marcus Aurelius. He used to say that the magnitude of life's challenges often turn us into our worst selves.
You mean Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor?
Welcome to the chat, bro. I don't know what that means, but welcome.
Of course, his name was Marcus. Marky was a bedroom name.
Oh, you.
You mean you and the emperor were...
Yes, Sam, that's what he means.
It was ancient Rome. Penetration was similar to a handshake.
All right, okay.
My apologies. I somehow forgot you were American. But let us discuss
That is not an American thing. This is just a... Okay, whatever.
I believe we can broaden your definition. Mortal psychologists call this phenomenon of binary thought, polarized thinking, but I like to call it Nosferatu thinking.
Okay.
Nosferatu thinking?
It means you are thinking in black and white.
I get it. That's pretty funny.
I suppose.
I believe it
It's appropriate
encompasses
for a
the breadth of the
vampire-based game.
distortion. One is not flatly weak or strong, good or evil, smart or stupid, a success or a failure. The truth is far more complex and colorful. Not every high noon gunfight ends in oblivion, correct?
Don't they all?
Yeah, that's true. Getting shot still ain't fun, but it ain't the end neither.
I've never been shot, so I can't test to this.
A perfect example, Samuel. Now, try to catch me using Nosferatu thinking. I will give you a series of statements, and one of them will contain Nosferatu thinking. I will repeat them if you miss it.
Shouldn't
If I
be too
do not
difficult.
drink blood, I will surely die.
That's
Is that Nosferatu thinking?
That's not it.
No, Sam. In
Crap.
this case, I am not arguing with reality. If we do not drink blood, we die. This is a fact
Oh,
of being a vampire.
I'm sorry. I forget we're vampires. All right. Let's try again. Excuse me. Was it? Use the voice crack. I forget that we are vampires.
Let us continue.
Try again. Let's try again. Let's try
Death
again.
eventually comes for us all.
Okay, that's not it because we're immortal.
Mortals
Vampires.
will always fear our kind.
That's also true.
Did you miss my Nosferatu thinking?
No,
Let me
that
start over.
no, that's
If I
also
do not drink blood, I will. Death eventually comes. Mortals will always fear our kind.
That's Nosferatu thinking right there. I've met mortals who knew who I was and weren't scared.
yes, but I suppose I'm interrogating this statement a bit too semantically. I was under the impression that it was like there is always going to be mortal life that is fearful of the existence of vampires, right? That's always true. I don't think you'll ever be able to eliminate that as a whole. I don't know.
Very good, Samuel. And even if you hadn't, to say
I suppose
mortals
Andrew's
will
right.
always fear us ends any hope that they might not.
I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Always is such a terminal word, is it not?
You got me there. I think always is.
Would you like to discuss more of your revelations with me?
Let's talk about
I
something.
realize that as vampires, we can get the feeling of the power that comes with immortality and strength, but then we get hopeless and aimless over time. It's kind of like the fella you see in the saloon at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey. Either he thinks he can fight everyone, or he's crying into them last drops because he thinks life's hopeless.
That's a lot of people, yes.
It's saloon thinking. Two extremes that probably ain't true.
A fascinating observation, Samuel. Your saloon thinking was described in my time as the battle between hubris and nemesis, the twin excesses of arrogance and self-pity.
Hubris and nemesis.
Oh man, it make me wish I'd gotten some schooling. Maybe I would have figured this stuff out earlier.
Yes, you would have, Sam, but that's okay. You've all the time to learn now.
You live forever, my friend. There is no rush. What you have identified is a phenomenon where individuals perceive either an illusion of control or a lack of control.
Right.
Mortal psychologists call this phenomenon you have described a control fallacy. Rarely do we have complete power over our situations or no power at all.
It's true.
But we create this illusion that stops us from attempting to change our perceived situations.
Yeah, you're right about that. I used to think I'd never get away from my gang, and maybe that's what made me stick with them for so long.
Yes, you see how cognitive distortions keep us from facing reality, whatever that reality may be. Of course, I am so old and powerful that I am always in control.
That's not true.
You're testing me, ain't you? That's a control fallacy right there.
Well done, Samuel. I am indeed very powerful, but the cosmos holds no awareness of Andromachos.
Andromachos. Is that right?
Of course, as you expertly pointed out with your analogy
I'm gonna
about
call
the
him
man at the
Andrew.
bottom of the whiskey bottle, a control fallacy can be positive or negative. Listen to my next few statements and try to find a control fallacy. Simply let me continue if you do not detect one.
Okay.
The sun will eventually burn out. I will roam a cold, dead earth, and there is little I can do about it.
That seems about right.
My kitty cat died. I shall be lonely forever.
That's not true, but that's wait, that is That's Nosferatu thinking.
Pay attention, Samuel.
Shit.
We are considering only control fallacies at the moment. My kitty
I'm
cat
sorry,
died.
I'm sorry.
I shall be lonely forever. I shall never feel the warm sun upon my skin again. I shall never feel the warm sun upon my skin again.
You said that twice.
You didn't catch my control fallacy.
Probably because I
Let's
missed
try
it.
once more. The sun will eventually burn out. I will roam a cold, dead earth.
That's not a
and there is little I can do about
That
it.
is true, though. There's nothing delicious about that. That is the reality of the situation.
My kitty cat died. I shall be lonely forever.
That's not true, but I don't know if that's a control fallacy. I guess it is, because it is within your control to not be lonely forever. I don't know how that works.
I'm sorry about your sweet kitty, but you can always pick up a new one. Or there's lots of them just waiting for a loving home, so you don't need to be lonely.
It was just an example, Samuel. Well spotted. But I do speak from experience. I felt this way once when a pharaoh I was dating had our cat mummified.
I see.
I went into a murderous depression that nearly decimated the continent.
Oh.
But I had the power to help myself all along by adopting a new friend in need of a home.
Oh, dang, don't let me get on your bad side.
I doubt you shall see it, Samuel. Did you have more revelations to tell me about?
One more, yes.
See, I used to be in a gang. They were my whole existence. If you asked me who I was, I would have said, I'm a murdering bastard. Once I got away, I realized how small-minded that was. I was Sam before I was a murdering bastard. But that's how I was choosing to brand myself.
That's true.
My old gang's still around, and they're still branding themselves like that. They can't see themselves as anything but killers.
Very astute, Samuel. I favor the clinical term, however, which is labeling. You correctly discovered that labeling is a reductive act. When we call ourselves names, even if we find them accurate, we create prophecies we are doomed to fulfill. For millennia, I thought of myself as a killer. It was not untrue that killing was how I made my way in the world. I was an unstoppable warrior and assassin. But with this label, I limited myself for ages. I did not only kill people, I also killed potential aspirations I might have had. See whether you can catch me doing some labeling in my next few statements. I am so old, I am ancient.
That's not really labeling. That is, you are old.
Call me whatever you like, but don't call me late for dinner.
That's just a funny, yeah.
How shall I describe myself? Yes, I am a mass murderer.
That's
That's
not
about as clear a labeling as it gets. Yeah, we vampires tend to do a lot of killing, but reducing ourselves to killers ain't doing us any favors.
Excellent, Samuel. You are correct. Labels can be cages that we lock ourselves in. I was a mere murderer for most of my existence because that is how I labeled myself.
I just realized this is all going on while the club music's still banging downstairs. I didn't think that would be the BGM to this session, but sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Sam Walls, the murderer, reprobate, and good for nothing.
Those are not how I would describe the Sam Walls I see before me.
Neither are those the words I would use now.
Did you have more revelations to tell me about?
That's all.
I think that's all of them. Or at least the ones that were the most obvious to me.
That you recognize the concept of cognitive distortions at all is most impressive, Samuel. What took me nearly 3 millennia to understand took you merely 2 centuries.
With a combined effort of other people, you can achieve this understanding very quickly in about maybe like 2 books.
Oh, come on, you're just flattering me. I'm just a dope stumbling his way through one life.
Are you now? Tell me, Samuel, what kind of cognitive distortion are you exhibiting when you call yourself a dope?
That is
Yeah,
labeling.
I'm doing some labeling. I gotta watch myself, huh?
You do, Sam. Bad practice.
As long as we retain any humanity,
I would wave I would waggle my finger, but I don't think you can see
What we are
it.
aiming for is not to become perfect.
It's not going to stop me from doing
but
it
to
anyways.
understand and accept ourselves.
That's good. I like that approach to cognitive distortions. It's all to open the stream and feel like you're 5 lines away from seeing Yowie. I think you're seeing it, but it's like you're not seeing the Yowie. You're seeing like, okay, the meditations that Yowie characters do after thousands of years of gay sex. Like that's what you're seeing. Because eventually, you do anything enough, you'll start thinking about it, right? And this is them thinking about it.
As long as we can recognize cognitive distortions, we can address our real challenges. One cannot drink blood from a straw man, after all.
It's true. Can I, Yeah, reveal text, auto delay. Can I make it... Is there an auto mode? I guess not. I don't see an auto mode anywhere. Not in the book, is it? Okay.
Huh. I ain't never heard that one before, but I like it.
I like it indeed.
If it helps solidify the concept in your mind, then I am well satisfied. I know you came to learn from me, so I will do my best to honor your good intentions. Let us ensure that you understand the concepts of labeling, control fallacies, and Nosferatu thinking.
I think I do.
I will give you a series of statements, and each one will contain a cognitive distortion for you to identify. I will begin.
Okay.
If I invite over my vampire friends, I know I'm going to have to deal with guano all over the place when they turn into bats at the end of the night.
Not necessarily. That's within your control.
Well, that there's a control fallacy, sir. You're acting like you've got no control, but you could lay down some ground rules for guests, or some newspaper.
Or express concern to my friends that they have not been toilet trained. Very good, Samuel. Let me try another. I am Andromachus, the ancient darkness, the scourge of the Mediterranean, the mortal's bane.
Very cool title, but that you are limiting yourself through labeling.
Well, that's definitely some intense labeling. Those are some hard names to get over.
You are not wrong. Those names followed me for millennia. It was most stifling. Let me try another then.
Another indeed.
If my club's revenues do not significantly increase, I will end up living on the street.
That's not true. It's not one or the other. You could do some other things, like start a therapy clinic.
That there's got to be Nosferatu thinking. There's a huge space between making a ton of profit and living on the street.
Indeed, you are correct. I run my club at a considerable loss, but 3,000 years of banking interest means that money is not really an object to me anyway.
Is that allowed? Can you have 3,000 years of banking interest? Wouldn't they get suspicious? I suppose you'd have to show up from time to time as disguises, in disguises, masquerading as your descendants, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it's a vampire bank, in which case I have more questions than answers, but it's fine.
Samuel, now I am not only intrigued by you, but also impressed. I would very much like to teach you my ways, but I must demand something of you first.
All right, what is it?
I'm here to learn.
Let me just adjust closer. Okay.
You must receive therapy yourself. I will not have you seeing clients without a commitment to your own mental
I knew there was a catch. No. All right, sure.
Oh, now, hold on just a minute. I don't know that I need therapy. I'm feeling pretty good about myself these days.
Sam, stop exposing my inner thoughts.
Samuel, we all need therapy to live in this world.
No.
You have been speaking in cognitive distortions since the moment you walked into my office.
I haven't. It was Sam. In fairness, I haven't been speaking much either.
I have. I didn't even notice.
They are most insidious, but I am here to help you identify and challenge them. You have walked alone for too long, Samuel. Allow me to share my experience with you.
Well, all right, if you say so. I appreciate your taking the time to work on this, old cowpoke.
We have all the time in the world, Samuel.
That's labeling.
But for now, you must be eager for something fresh. Please, dance, drink your fill. We will begin tomorrow.
Okay, then. Well, sir, it's been an honor.
You don't have to call me sir, you know.
Okay, Andrew. Andrew.
All right, then. Andromachos.
Andromachos.
Andromachos. Andromachos. Andromachos. Yeah, I could do that.
Andromachos.
Don't try it, Sam. Call him Andro.
Just call me Andy.
Andy works too.
All right, Andy. I'll see you tomorrow then.
Oh, I'm losing frame rates whenever the curtain comes in. That's fine, that's fine. Oh, we're back.
Dang,
so loud. Alright, put it here.
Maybe I'll see if the bartender's got anything for me.
If it isn't Clint Eastwood again. How'd it go, cowboy?
Seems I'll be sticking around. Guess I'd better get used to things around here.
Good to hear. About time someone helped Andy with his work. Seems you vampires have a lot of problems to fix. Name's Crimson, by the way.
Hello, Crimson. Nice to meet you.
Fine meeting you, Crimson. How do you know so much about what Andy's doing?
Pillow talk. I'm his blood brother.
Right, of course. That makes perfect sense.
No shit. How's a mortal get hooked up with an ancient vampire?
How are they not?
I'm a rock climber. I stumbled into one of his lairs in Madagascar, found a cave while climbing a mountain, and there he was, naked in a hot tub.
I suppose you can use the power of your imagination for that. Close your eyes, do it a little bit. Yes, that's it. That's him in the hot tub. Okay, we're done.
Dang. Must have been a sight.
You ain't kidding, cowboy. Didn't expect a luxury apartment with a gorgeous naked vampire inside of a mountain. We hit it off, and he asked me to come back here with him. I like an adventure, so I said, what the hell? I'll date the gorgeous Dracula.
Yeah, right.
But what are you doing talking to me, cowboy? The blood's running hot on the dance floor, and these kids don't mind a little biting.
Do they not?
Ain't no way I'm dancing. There's gotta be a better way to get something fresh to drink.
Reinhardt, look. It's the sexy old guy again.
Hello, it's me.
You should buy us a drink, old guy. You'll probably get lucky. Actually, you will definitely get lucky.
Okay.
Pleasures of the flesh ain't exactly what I'm after tonight.
You tell him, Sam. Me too.
That's because you haven't experienced these pleasures with us yet. Buy us a drink and you will discover great satisfaction by us.
That's Nosferatu thinking. Tell them they're outside, tell them uncle's bad, tell them you don't have the money, tell them they can support themselves. What do we tell them? I have no money. That's the truthful answer.
I ain't buying you a drink. All I got are good old-fashioned dollars.
No, I don't, Sam.
I like American money. All we have on our money are buildings. You have us the sexy old men.
Sexy is not the word I would use to describe American dollar notes, but I mean, who am I to say?
All right, I'll buy it. Which of them old men are sexy?
I like Hamilton. His posture is just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
There is a dollar coin that has Eisenhower's face on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you are right. Eisenhower is, how do you Americans say, a snack?
I think that's what they say, yes.
I get it. You like older men.
You can support
I ain't
yourselves.
buying you a drink. I think I'd be insulting your economic status.
Mein Lieber, don't worry about us. We just like to feel special. We have lucrative jobs in IT.
Oh.
Oh, yeah? Well, maybe you can help me. See if my printer died again. I'm getting real tired of these things.
Please, we are here to party. But get a laser printer.
Well, thanks for the tip. That ink seems to be more valuable than blood.
Oh, indeed it is. I don't want to say this because that just seems kind of a little. Actually, no, that's less rude than this is. This is kind of like I'm assuming I know what's best for them, and that's not quite true. And alcohol is not strictly bad. I will say it can be abused a lot, and it does get abused a lot, but it's not. Path of sobriety is one you must walk.
I ain't buying you a drink. This stuff's terrible for you.
Tesla was almost American, so he counts. He got a historic white man, probably up there. I think I agree. And I will not elaborate on it more than that.
Are you making a joke? We are at a bar.
It's okay. He's just trying to be protective. Aren't you, Opa?
You know, I think the drinks here ain't strong enough for you two.
All right, I guess this is it. We're running out of options.
I ain't buying you a drink. You ain't exactly my type.
Oh, we don't want to marry you. We just want to have fun with you.
You kids are too much.
Kids these days, man.
Well, these kids just ain't gonna leave me alone.
Stop teasing the cowboy, Kinder. They're just messing with you. Drinks are free here.
Oh. Why are they? Oh. Because you can, right. Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Dang, really? I ain't never been to a saloon with free hooch.
Yeah, because nothing's ever free.
Call it a drink exchange.
It is.
Huh. So, everyone here knows they might be sharing blood?
Only as long as there's consent. We like to create a safe environment here.
That sounds very PR. But I like it.
Why don't you take Reinhard and Maxie here back to the kink room?
Is that what we're doing? For the therapy, right?
Wait, kink room?
For the therapy.
Mm-hmm. You're not in Kansas anymore, cowboy. We are not afraid of sex here.
Afraid is not the word I would use. Maybe I am afraid. Okay. YouTube is very strict.
I'm from Missouri, but point taken.
Nobody has to do anything they don't want to do in there. Just have fun and drink your fill, handsome. I'm sure I'll be seeing plenty of you. Maxie, Reinhard, this is one of our special customers.
Ach so, ein Vampir. I'm thinking we are all getting lucky then.
I suppose
My
we
neck
are.
scrubs with anticipation.
Thanks. Guess I'm going to a kink room then. Thanks, Crimson.
They just really want it. Okay, alright.
I knew a man who wore this much leather couldn't be boring.
Yeah, well, you got me pegged.
Got him indeed.
Is that what we are doing now? Give me the document and I will sign myself up for it.
I really ain't in Missouri no more. Look, I'm more into biting.
Oh, your teeth look perfect. Are you going to bite me with those?
I wonder if HIV has ever been a problem for vampires or STDs. It has to be, right? Or maybe not. I don't know how it works, but I think vampire biology will be a little different. Though I do wonder if the equivalent, maybe not the same, not exactly that. Maybe not exactly like the STDs that humans have, but like vampires have to suffer through something, right? Or not? Maybe their cold biology does not facilitate the growth of you know, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna stop there.
That's the plan. Who's going first?
Oh, me.
Well, step right on up.
The veins, that's right there.
Oh, das hat sich gut angefühlt.
I didn't think there would be like a mini game for. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Is it my turn yet?
I suppose it is.
Sure thing. Come on over.
Oh, Reinhard, the hot old vampire wore me out.
They're really, I mean, oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I was thinking, like, how do they portray the vampirism here without it being kind of, you know, terrifying? And it being in a dance club for people with this fetish makes perfect sense. Like, you know, and the free drinks and everything. You know, that makes perfect sense.
Me too, Maxie. I feel as though I have set up a mail server.
A mail server? Oh, they're IT guys, right.
Reinhard, mein Sucke Fledermaus. Ich bin so müde, sexy zu sein.
I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. But I think that's good. I think they're very happy.
I will get us a taxi cab, Liebchen. Und du, cowboy?
Yes.
Next time we will talk about that thing you mentioned earlier.
Therapy? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, sure thing, fella. You can help me with my new laser printer.
That's what we were talking about. Yes, the laser printer.
Now that I've had something to drink, I should probably get to my coffin.
Samuel, wait a moment. I see you got your fill. Are you heading out?
Yeah, I've got enough.
Yeah, I figure I could use some shut-eye. I locked up my coffin over at the storage center.
Storage center? Please, you can use my guest coffin. I insist. You must be well rested for the challenges ahead.
Andy's guest coffin.
Guess I
All
got a
right.
big night tomorrow, huh? I should get a good day's sleep.
Wonderful. Please, follow me.
Guest
Well,
coffin.
dang. This is mighty plush.
Hmm.
Guess it's one of them smart coffins.
Smart.
Let's see what's on TV. Hey, I remember this movie. We were so proud to finally get some representation.
Oh. How long does this play? Look, that's them. I have some water while I watch this. Oh, it loops here. Okay.
Not sure I should stay up watching movies, though.
I wanted to.
Well, ain't much
Oh.
else to do in here. I think it's about time I hit the hay. Hope I'm cut out for all this.
I think I am. Let's do it, Sam.
Samuel, good evening. I hope you slept well.
Yes, I
Like the
did.
dead, as they say.
I was hoping to save you some breakfast, but I've already sent them on their way.
Oh, that's all right. I'm still pretty full from last night.
Oh, sent them like the people in the club breakfast. Right. I was thinking like what you sent the eggs and toast away? Right. Yes.
Them goth types were practically throwing themselves at me.
Oh, they were.
I am not surprised. Perhaps I should be concerned that some of my guests will follow you home.
Well, gosh, if I still had mortal circulation, I'd be blushing.
Why are you so embarrassed, Samuel?
Ah, hell. Guess we should just save it for therapy, huh? We gonna get started now?
If you like.
Why not? I'm eager to get going. Let loose, Doc.
Very well. Let's start with the first question any therapist asks then.
Is that the first question?
What
Okay.
brought you to me? Why is becoming a therapist so important to you?
Well, gosh, I remember what it was like. Being all angry, hungry, and scared all the time. It ain't no way to live. When I see vampires acting the way I used to, I just need to show them there's more to unlife.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that up to you?
You, of all people, know how lost our kind can be. Preying on the weak, dating mortal high schoolers.
Oh. Very true. Don't date mortal high schoolers, please. If you're a vampire out there. Or anyone who's old. Oh, that's the signs. Those are the signs for being lost in life. Drake.
I've got to make them see their potential. That's what I'm here for. I know it.
That is a lot of responsibility to place on yourself.
Yeah, but I'm not alone in this, right? It's you and me, Andy.
You got a funny look in your eye.
Andromachos.
Am I doing one of them distortion things?
Andromachos. Don't date high schoolers, anyone over 18. Honestly, even if you are a high schooler yourself, like, you know, is that really it? I don't know. I wouldn't say. Never mind.
You are most perceptive. Yes. Perhaps you can tell me what it is.
What was I
When
doing?
you say you are here to make vampires see the world differently, in what way are you distorting reality?
Oh, like there's two ways to see it, correctly and incorrectly, and they're doing it incorrectly. Yeah, I suppose. But that's kind of, you're introducing a sense of relativism to this. That's kind of, is it arbitrary? I don't know. Let's see
I'm
if
doing
it's
some
that.
Nosferatu thinking, ain't I?
Remember, Samuel, that Nosferatu thinking comprises thoughts that are lacking in color and nuance.
That's
They
not
are
what I was
one
doing. Never
extreme
mind.
or another.
Never
I
mind.
will ask you once more. When you say you are here to make vampires see the world differently,
Control, right.
in what
right.
way
As if-
are you distorting reality?
No, but like I'm not saying that I'll be able to do it to all vampires. I'm just saying, you know, that's what the goal ultimately. But of course, it's not going to happen complete. Whatever.
Well, I guess that's a control fallacy, right?
I'm being
I
very
can't assume
pedantic.
I'll be able to help other vampires the way I was helped.
I can't help it.
Very good, Samuel. Control fallacies are hard to avoid when one feels strongly about something.
Dating high school is a high school is fine. You get practice dating adult that way. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was just saying like it's not, also not like don't stress about it is what I was trying to say. But if the golden rule is the math formula where you divide by 2 and add 7 to the older age, and that's the age gap you're allowed, and then anything that's outside of that allowed mathematical premise is deemed weird. That's all. But really it comes down to power dynamic, you know. If it's not an equal thing, then it's not. I don't know why I'm getting into this.
Your fate is not to transform every vampire you ever meet, even those who are your clients.
Yes, but it is to try, right?
You will do what you can do.
Yes.
And that is enough.
Yes. That's what I suppose I intended to convey, but Sam was probably conveying something else. Okay.
But I am eager to learn how you developed this desire to help our kin find a different way of thinking.
Well, like I told you when I first emailed you, I was a real nasty son of a bitch when I first became a vampire. When I look back and see what a no-account piece of shit I was, I ain't nothing but embarrassed. It all seems pretty stupid to me now. Here we are living forever and all we can do is kill? That's the dumbest thing I ever did here.
I am going to stop you for a moment. Stupid, no-account piece of shit, nasty son of a bitch, dumbest thing. Do you hear the way you are talking about yourself?
Yes. It just sounds like you're quite beating yourself up about it, which is like understandable, but you don't have to do that.
With respect, sir, I earned all them names. I killed women and children. Half the ghost towns out west are my doing. I didn't think of nobody but myself.
Pretend you are my therapist. If I sat here and called myself a no-account piece of shit, what would you tell me?
That would be labeling Andromachos.
I'd say you were doing some labeling. And I guess I'd tell you to look at yourself a little more kindly.
You are lost at the end of the day.
Yourself then, Samuel. How are you to move on from being a nasty son of a bitch if you are labeling yourself? If you wish to be a guide to other vampires, you must start with compassion for them and for yourself.
That's important to know, yeah.
Now that you've gotten all that horrible name-calling out of the way, please tell me, how did you find your sense of purpose?
On a game on Steam that I was really wanting to try. That's how I found it.
I was on the run, you see. The Wild West was ending and the Pinkertons were starting to get the better of my gang. I went into hiding and found a strange group of folks out in the country. They knew I was an outlaw right away, but they didn't judge me for it. They didn't even care that I was a vampire. They welcomed me like a friend, even shared their blood with me. They taught me how to appreciate the beauty of the night, and I started seeing things I'd never noticed before.
A little kindness does go a long way, though this is a lot of kindness. Kindness goes a long way.
They taught me my letters, philosophy, and how to question things instead of being scared of them.
Did they teach you philosophy now? Probably insufficiently, Sam.
I think about them every day of my own life. They somehow freed themselves of all the judgments of the time and were better off for it.
These must have been the 19th century American transcendentalists, yes?
Yes, sir. I'm glad I died when I did, because their like just don't exist no more. Once my community died out, I started walking. That was something else they taught me how to do. There ain't nothing like having a walk and a think.
It's quite nice.
I walked in nature for about 90 years.
That's a little long.
Just took in all the grace and beauty of my country.
I suppose you could do that.
I guess I was kind of selfish, though. I should have been helping other vampires the way the Transcendentalists helped me.
Why?
Why waste 90 years walking when I should have been helping others? Seems pretty obvious to me. I could have done a lot of good in that time.
But you were doing a lot of good for yourself, Samuel. Also, just a side note, I think some of Andromachos' lines were a bit kind of cut off right at the end of the audio. I don't know. Something I hope the devs are maybe looking into. I think it's an indie game made from one person. Anyways.
But your should turns that which you could find fulfilling into a duty. You create an extrinsic motivator. Truth statements are another cognitive distortion.
Oh man.
Something created by your own mind. Nature asks
more.
almost nothing of you. Even if your should comes from a place of good, it creates undue pressure.
It's true. It's true.
And what do we do once we are pressured? We resent the shoulds. We procrastinate. And as you know, we have a lot of time to procrastinate.
You got that right. Why do today what you could do next century?
Exactly. Should statements remove the intrinsic joy from that which you find fulfilling?
Do they now? Should statements remove the intrinsic joy from that which you find fulfilling? That I should do it, so I do it, not because I want to do it. Okay, I guess suppose that. I fail to see why that's that much of an issue. Like, I don't think that really, so what they're saying here is this kind of makes you procrastinate. It, You know, I'm thinking a lot about myself now. That's no good. This is supposed to be a VTuber stream, not a session of self-reflecting. I wasn't prepared for this, I think. I probably should have been. Because I don't know, I do find that the should, when I think of things, and it's not like I don't procrastinate, so I'm not saying I'm immune to what psychological effects are here being described, but it's more that when I do engage in should statements myself, I tend to find it fulfilling because I should, rather than unfulfilling, because fulfilling things that I should do, to me, I guess, is part of the intrinsic enjoyment. But I think that's not necessarily the case when viewed differently, because some people see responsibility as not part of them. Like they don't. I find meaning precisely in doing what I should because it's what I should. But that's me. I don't think that's a. I think that's not a universal thing for people. And I think what might be more likely the case in this theory here, I suppose, right, that we run by, is that it removes that joy, because most people don't do things. They don't want to do things because they feel like they feel burdened to, or like, you know, that feel like they ought to, but because they want to, and there's a sense of agency and control that makes people feel at ease and helps them do things, I guess. I don't know. Like doing stuff that you have to do removes the fun from it. Right. And I really think I should do something bring crumples like tin foil. Yeah, so I suppose that this is good. It's interesting that I'm finding out about myself, and that like I can resonate with the sentiment, because sometimes I do kind of crumple under the pressure and I go like, no, I don't want to do what I should do. I just want to, you know, like I just want to do things for myself and whatnot or whatever. But I find intrinsic enjoyment and fulfillment in fulfilling responsibilities, I guess. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. Andromahos, please tell me more.
Hold on though. Ain't there some things we really should do?
Of course, there are things we must do, but nature herself tells us what they are. We invent the rest. Here, let me give you an exercise.
Okay.
Listen closely. See whether you can find the should statement that is a distortion. I should go to the vampire dentist. You know what they say. If you have bad fangs, you get bad blood.
I mean, that's just true.
I should drink blood today.
Yeah, you probably
I should take my blood partner Crimson out on a date.
That removes the intrinsic joy.
Saying you should take Crimson out on a date is a should statement. You've turned something you want to do into something you have to do.
That's right, Samuel. You know, I couldn't be more pleased with you. Your time in nature was clearly well spent.
This is not something I was familiar with. I think the other three are like kind of cognitive traps that I'm aware of. This one is not so much something I've thought about. I'm sure there's papers that contend it, for sure. And there's literature that offers opposing perspectives, but I guess I can roll with it. Struggle badly with executive dysfunction though. Experiences basic human motion to its most extreme. I don't. Yeah, that could be the case. I honestly don't know enough to make a meaningful comment beyond that, I suppose.
Well, thanks, I suppose. But if you don't mind my saying so, I hope you're treating that mortal lady right.
Thank you. Please, ask her yourself. I imagine she would share her blood with you. You look like her type.
Hold on. I've only been in Europe for a couple of days. I ain't gonna go after my teacher's girlfriend.
Monogamy, Samuel, is an American concept. Haha, you silly Americans. Is that what he's gonna say?
She does what she wishes, and that is why I chose her as my blood partner.
Yes, here in Europe we have polygamy for immortal vampires. Yes, Andromachos, I get it.
Samuel, even if it beats no longer, you have a good heart. I think you will be an excellent therapist.
Thank you.
So far, that good heart of mine hasn't amounted to much, but I'm willing to give it my best shot.
You are uncomfortable with praise, aren't you, Samuel? Every time I say something positive, you find a way to negate it.
That's true, Samuel. You are doing that.
I just don't think I should be doing any bragging. I spent my first 50 years killing. I spent the next 90 walking in the woods.
That's a should statement, Sam.
I've tried to walk a better path since then, but I ain't no saint, Auntie.
You are trying your best, Samuel.
I did not say you were. Having met several so-called saints, I can attest that none of them were either.
Saints indeed.
I understand your discomfort, Samuel. I, too, have done terrible things that I cannot erase. But is erasing the good I have done worthwhile?
I think it's uninteresting because, you know, why erase what's happened rather than build more that is good? I think it's less about erasure and more about... It's never about removing anything. I think it's always about adding things that are good. That's what it's always about.
Well, I guess when you put it like that, it sounds kind of silly.
Yes, it does, Samuel.
It's another cognitive distortion, one that mortal psychologists call disqualifying the positive.
We got 5 things now. Oh, man. Okay.
I understand that the actions of your past are difficult to bear, but what we are here to do is accept reality with both its positive and negative aspects.
Diagnosed early. Yeah, I get that. Past that character development. Exactly, it's character. It's character. It's character, Samuel, that you went around wiping out all those people. What's a few thousand people? They'll repopulate again. I hear you cry. Yeah.
I am not saying that you should disqualify your negative actions, but merely note when you disqualify the positive ones.
Yes, thank you, Andromachos. I completely agree with this one.
Let us try an exercise. See whether you can challenge me when I disqualify my positive deeds. I am Andromachos, one of the most powerful vampires alive.
Yeah.
Before I became the vampire I am now, I did exceptionally terrible things.
Yep.
I have defiled the innocent. I have killed countless people.
Yeah.
The good I now do pales in comparison to the evil I have done.
There it is.
That's the one. You're literally disqualifying the positive by comparing it to the evil stuff you done.
Well done, Samuel. I believe the recognition of this distortion will serve you well when you start to see clients tomorrow.
Whoa, tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
I only just started learning these here cognitive distortion things.
Yeah, and there's 5 of them. Like, how will I know which one I'm picking?
I will, of course, be with you. You needn't worry. I can sense your instincts and will help you.
But tomorrow, I just don't feel ready yet.
Sam, don't doubt yourself. Or rather, should we get a license for this? Yeah, I shouldn't.
My friend, we are never truly ready. But if it would ease your concerns, we can practice with further examples. Would that be helpful to you?
No, I think I'm ready.
I think I'm good.
All right, Samuel. You must be hungry now. I suggest you get the liter inside you. We have a big night tomorrow.
How much is a liter?
Samuel,
Just
the
get enough to drink,
American,
We will not be able to
doesn't
work if you're
understand the
hungry or
metric
tired.
system.
Now, please excuse me. I do have a date with Crimson tonight. I suspect I shall not return until nearly morning.
All right, have fun.
Of course. I hope you have a nice night out, Mr. Andy.
Andromachos, or Andy, that works
You as
too.
well, Samuel. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, indeed.
Ah, Samuel, glad to see you are awake. Your first client is on his way.
Oh, this is the... I'm not... It's a whole thing. I'll read it maybe at the end of the stream. Or like, I'll read the journal at the beginning of the next stream to like catch up on what happened. I think that would work.
What, already? Look, Mr. Andy, sir, are you sure I'm ready for this? These are people's brains I'm messing with.
You're not messing with their brains. You're offering them questions.
Fear not, my friend. You are a powerful vampire in your own right. To be so young and have so much empathy is quite a gift.
It's more of a curse, really. Doesn't bode well on Antonomachos.
All you need to do is listen, and I know the truth will reveal itself to you.
Okay.
Shucks, wish I had your confidence.
Well, to a limited extent, I can see the future. If you are about to misinterpret a client's distortions, I will set you back on the right path.
Oh, great. We have saves coming built in. Wonderful.
You can see the future.
It's not that impressive, really. You start to see the patterns after 1,000 years or so.
Oh, is this a... Isn't that just kind of like decorative humility, or is it actually disqualifying the positive?
If seeing the future ain't impressive, that's gotta be a distortion. Disqualifying the positive, it's gotta be.
You barely require my aid as it is. If you need guidance, I will provide it to you telepathically. Don't think about it too much. When you are 3,000, such things will cease to impress you. Let us look at your first client's case file.
Dr. Drain, huh? You ain't got no first name?
Dr. Drain, he's 430, male, he's English. Dr. Drain is a class of 1614 graduate of the Royal College of Physicians. He's been studying the nature of blood for the last several centuries, became a vampire after a post-mortem blood transfusion experiment, now runs a global pharmaceutical research company. He's now concerned that he's developed an addiction to a drug of his own formulation. Suggestion detected strong irritability on the phone. Investigate Drain's shrinking and sleeping habits. Ooh.
Many vampires go by one name. Families and titles seem to become more abstract after a certain age.
So is it funny that he kept the title?
Indeed. You catch on quickly, despite your habit of disqualifying the positive. I will let you work now. I shall be meditating in my coffin, but I will sense when you need my help.
But I...
Samuel, I know you can handle this. Be yourself, and all will be well.
Satan bless it all, I hate flying.
Oh, he's English, all right.
Hey there. God's blood, what on earth are you?
Your therapist. Mind you, Drain.
My name's Sam. I'm the new therapist. Make yourself comfortable, Dr. Drain. And American as well. Good God. It's not enough for you lot to take over the world of the living. Even the halls of the dead aren't safe from you.
Yes, yes. Very rich coming from you. Taking over the world, Drain. Come now.
Oh, well. I suppose your lot are all into this touchy-feely stuff, aren't you? And ignorance, even American ignorance, is bliss, I suppose. Oh, sweet ignorance, how I do wish I knew thee.
Yeah, there's a lot to work with, yep.
Damn it, how am I gonna work with this fella? I gotta ask Andy.
No, you don't. You got
Are
this.
you all right, Samuel?
You gave me this fella as my first client?
Why not? He is clearly hiding very little about his state of mind.
How am I supposed to help him when he already sees me as the bad guy?
Use your instincts, Samuel. Think about how you have felt in your darkest hours. What does this poor vampire want?
He wants to complain. I think that's what he wants to do.
I think he just wants to complain.
Perceptive, Samuel. He can hardly stop himself, can he?
So, what? I just let him complain?
I mean, that's part of therapy, isn't it? You just kind of let them just gotta go. Talk about your feelings. Talk about what you're angry about.
Of course. Just give him a starting point to let it all out. It will make him feel better.
Well, if you say so.
Don't worry, Samuel. You are doing wonderfully. I will release your time now.
Well, are you just going to sit there? I was just gonna ask how your trip here was. My trip? My trip was bloody wonderful. until my familiar got a flat tire and I had to fly 30 kilometers here as a bat. I hate being a bat and I hate flying. Do you know an owl tried to eat me? Me, a creature that has lived for centuries, treated like common prey. I'm surprised he was even interested. You should see what an ugly little beastie I am when I transform. All I could do was screech and squeak until he went away. Well, I suppose I'm alive, in a manner of speaking anyway. You all right there, pal?
No.
Yes, I'm fine. Well, I'm not, of course. I wouldn't be here otherwise. But for the sake of conversational integrity, fine.
Yes, but we're not here for conversational integrity. We're not here for social lubricant drain. We're here for therapy. Please, be honest with yourself.
I take it you read my case file and know why I'm here?
You have an addiction.
You're here for an addiction problem. Yes. Embarrassing, isn't it?
A little bit, but I wouldn't beat myself up over it.
Well, what's to be embarrassed about? I remember when Ulysses S. Grant was president. Didn't seem to bother him. Oh, well, of course. How wonderful it is that I share the mental failings of people who only live a single lifetime. Hey, come on now. There's a part of us that's still mortal. Can't help that, just like we can't help being dead. So I'm discovering. Look, I just need some tips and I'll be on my way. Just give me all the tricks. Whatever one does to make addictions go away.
That's not how it works, Drain. We're here to work on you. And you can't just grab the tips and leave. Like, it's not... You're very...
Tips? Let me think.
Just a hug or something tasty. There are no easy solutions, Drain.
Partner, there ain't no tips that'll magically cure you. But I'm here to listen. You know, I never in my life thought anyone would ever call me partner. Like partner, but not with a T.
You never been to the Americas, Drain? Come on. You're a businessman. You own a medical company. There's no way you've never been to the Americas.
And I know how you English love your tea. Thank goodness we can still process tea. We cannot live on blood alone. I appreciate the concern, though. I must admit, I rather saw myself above this whole addiction thing.
Yes, it's quite obvious. British man.
Tell you what, let's not worry about being above or below anything. You're here now, so let's see what we can do. What exactly
I should stop being snarky. We're here to, like, help him, right? I should... But Sam's here to help him. I'm here to be snarky.
It's a form of plasma, a catalytic compound of my own design, a necessary component of my own scientific goals. You're losing me. Well, let me try to make it simple. I have been able to replicate and even alter the molecular patterns that vampiric erythrocyte surface receptors receive.
Erythrocyte surface receptors. Is that your skin?
Our unique physiology gives us an increased ligand affinity, which is how we are able to process blood the way that we do.
Okay. So it's something that helps you process blood. And you are addicted to something that you found is a blood replacement of the sort, is that right?
I can extend this receptivity and thus achieve my true goal. Synthetic blood. Freedom from the hunger that plagues us and hope for all humanity.
That's quite nice. That's quite good.
Well, dang, that sounds pretty impressive, Doc. Well, it doesn't work without a vampiric catalyst, and that is the plasma I am addicted to. Pathetic, isn't it? I have spent 400 years trying to steal the secret of blood, only to be engulfed by it, like Prometheus walking into a fireplace.
I wouldn't say it's pathetic. It's a necessary stumble in this line of work, I understand. I would say that I'd be weirded out if you weren't.
Pathetic? Doc, where the heck would you get a word like that? You've come up with a synthetic blood. Man, I can barely get my spurs on some mornings. Maybe you've had a setback or two, but give yourself a little credit, compadre.
Let's go find the positive.
Credit? For wasting 400 years? Practically speaking, I'm in the same place as I was back when King James was in power. Only now I have a drug problem.
Yes, but King James was King James, right? I wouldn't say that's that low. That's not a low point.
Perhaps I must face facts. My professor was right. Nothing we ever do will make a damned bit of difference.
That's pessimism. That's very...
Samuel, listen to him. Do you recognize his patterns of thought?
No, but I'm trying to.
There's some distortions in there, ain't there?
Definitely.
I knew you would sense them. Invite him to talk more about this failure of his.
I'll do my best. Now hold on just a minute there, cowpoke. I've heard you talk a lot about failure, but it sure sounds to me like you ain't thinking clearly if you think you're a failure. I am a realist, that's all.
Are you, though?
Look at me. 400 years of study and still dabbling with leukocytes.
You're disqualifying the positive.
I don't know many people who would call working with leukocytes dabbling. I mean, I gotta admit, I have no earthly clue what you're talking about. So unless you made up all them science terms, I think you might be doing more than playing with a chemistry set. Perhaps. But if we consider all there is to know about blood, I know precious little.
Yes.
But you know something. Yes, I concede I might know something about blood. I would hope so after 400 years. You still got more knowledge about blood than most, whether it's been 4 years or 400 years, amigo. Let's get back to what you were saying, though. I'm saying I am surely the oldest, most well-studied doctor in the world. I should have achieved more than this.
Or is it? That's like a trick, right? It's not actually like a should statement because it's more of like a. No, hold on. Yeah, no, it is a should statement because why you have all the time in the world to do anything. Why did you choose to be a studied doctor, right?
Well, who said you should have achieved more? Isn't it obvious? I should have something to show for 400 years of work.
To show who, Drain? Please.
And what happens if you don't? Absolutely nothing at all. Well, that's my point. That is not as encouraging as you think it is. Ain't meant to be encouraging, just showing you a little reality. Well, it's all my fault, really. I cannot seem to motivate my scientists to reach the necessary level of dedication. It's always shocking to me how little urgency mortals have around death.
Me too. It's always shocking as well. But, it's not your fault, is it? There's some things that are just out of your control, and you have to accept that, right?
So it's all your fault that you haven't come up with the perfect synthetic blood. It can't be anyone else's fault. Only I have the skill, the knowledge, and the experience.
You know, but you know that's not true. So you're being facetious, Drain. Come on.
Pardon me for saying so, Doc, but it sounds like what you're doing is pretty dang complicated. It sounds to me like you're some kind of god if you expect control over life itself. Please, I am a scientist, not a spiritualist. It is not control I seek, but understanding.
Yes, but your speech betrays your subconscious thinking in desiring control beyond what is possible or what is feasible.
And are you ever gonna have perfect understanding? No, of course not. I'm not a wizard. So how about not putting saving the world on one person, Doc? That is a simplification, but I take your point. As I was saying, now that I'm addicted to my own drug, I have joined the ranks of mortal celebrities in my utter irrelevance.
That's not just black and white. It's not just like two camps of people that are drug addicts and non-drug addicts. That's not true.
That's a pretty dark read on things. You know, lots of folks get over their addictions. Yes, but not me.
You have all the time in the world to get over it.
I'm trying to tell you that even if you are addicted, that ain't the end, hermano. You got a lot of life and opportunity left in you. If you can call this life. Now, hold on there. That's what I call Nosferatu thinking, straight from the coffin. Life ain't all black and white. It's got its shades of gray, too, you know. Oh, well played, cowpoke. Perhaps I am being a little dramatic.
Yes, you are. Please.
Yes, I'm aware that in reality progress has been made, enough to get to this point. But I didn't come here to ask for a pat on the back and to be told I'm a good boy. That ain't my department, but I hear they do some of that stuff downstairs.
Oh, they do.
Yes, we all know very well that the Continentals are more sexually liberated than we are. But as I say, I don't want all this therapy stuff. I just want to stop using this damn drug. Well, so what's so good about this stuff anyway? Why do you like it? I'm not certain. I don't remember what happens after I take it, but I wake up feeling, how do I put this, alive.
What's happening? You're trying to make a drug addict vampire stop? Yeah, that's what this is. Right now, Drain is a vampire. He's a British. He's like 400. He's a British medical, like pharmacist guy who has invented a drug, or who has made a lot of progress in synthetic blood. But part of the progress entailed creating a drug that he is now addicted to, and he's attending this therapy session to try to get his addiction under control. Can't imagine living so long and not feel bored with everything. Hello, Coffee Paradox. I don't think I recognize you. Can't imagine living so long and not feel bored with everything to begin with. I can't imagine not feeling bored with everything to begin with at all if you were just pursuing, you know, the blind hedonism that was kind of portrayed a bit earlier in the game. You didn't have to live too long to see that, I think, right? But at the same time, yeah, I think it just with time, it's more obvious. Though I do suppose, like, they've shed light on, you know, their other non-hedonistic endeavors. Because as it turns out, most of the hedonists are downstairs and they're young mortals who are goth people. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think at least Drain here seems to be doing something interesting and meaningful, or at least he's trying to, and then he's got problems that he has to deal with as well. And I think obviously now with the other two vampires here that are both therapists, that's the same case as well.
Well, that don't sound so bad. A good nap can make me feel like a new man. I'm not talking about feeling refreshed. I mean I feel alive. As if I'm someone else. Someone who lives.
Someone who lives. As in you don't live. I mean, you're the undead, sure, Drain, but, you know, for all intents and purposes, you live just as mortals do.
And I wake up and find, oh gracious me, I am not depressed. You mean to tell me that you're going to sleep depressed every night? Oh, nothing of the sort. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. You're assuming that I can simply go to sleep and my global scientific enterprise will run itself.
Right, so anxiety.
Oh, wait just a gosh darn minute. You're telling me you don't sleep? Yes, it's not as though we can get much deader already. I have work to do. So you're not sleeping and you're always depressed. I think we're starting to get somewhere. Oh, don't be such a bumpkin. If you're a sapient individual, aware of the world around you, depression is the only sensible reaction. It has nothing to do with sleep.
I think depression is an understandable reaction, but I don't think it's the only one. I think it's far from the only sensible reaction. Sorry, what's the, It's not the only word.
Come on now, it's a big world out there, and different things are depressing to different people. Everyone reacts to things differently. Ain't it true that a sensible person, as you call them, might even be a different degree of depressed? Very well, I suppose I might have been using a bit of mild hyperbole.
Mild.
Putting it mildly, buckaroo. Buckaroo? Now I'm even more depressed.
Don't let the American speak get to you, Drain. Come on.
Regardless, I didn't come here to be a whiner. Oh, boo-hoo, life is hard. Yes, we all know it's hard.
But you're not a whiner. You're here for therapy. That's what's happening.
Now, why'd you say coming and talking to me makes you a whiner? Is that not what I currently am?
Facets of identity are multiple, sir. Please.
Sounds to me like you're expressing yourself. Whiner is the word you used. Yeah, if you want to call it whining, that's up to you. But that's entirely your label. Oh, very well, call it moaning or whinging if you prefer.
Whinging.
Moaning, whinging, bellyaching, still all just labels. I don't believe I shall be using the term bellyaching in any case. But as I was saying, in the moments I wake up, I feel free. I suppose it must be what being an ignoramus feels like.
Ignoramus. Shit, I don't know if I can get this one right. Moments I wake up, I feel free. Suppose most people what being an ignoramus feels like. Yeah, I think you're just doing more labeling, aren't you?
You honestly think feeling good makes you an ignoramus? The phrase ignorance is bliss is most apt, don't you think?
I understand it and I sympathize with it, and I think it's to some extent true for light conversation, but when it comes down to it, one can be happy without being ignorant, I suppose.
But by calling yourself an ignoramus, you're making bliss something to be avoided.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunate how that works, isn't it? The only way to be happy is by being a fool.
No, not necessarily.
Partner, those are your labels. Try using something more positive and see how you feel. What, shall I say that by being ignorant, I am a noble genius? Still just labels. Oh, very well. I suppose I might be discounting my experience.
Indeed, you might be.
I don't know how to say this, amigo. You really don't like letting yourself be happy. Honestly, I'm failing to see the problem with taking this stuff. Seems like it's making you get the rest you need, and it makes you feel good. What's the problem? First of all, I do not need to rest. And partaking of this plasma does have downsides. What kind of downsides? I do not know what happens when I partake of the substance. However, when I wake up, I feel refreshed. But I also smell of blood and sex.
Oh, so it's like, okay.
Once I even woke up wearing a football jersey. It was most distasteful.
Oh, football.
I guess you must be having some kind of good time. That is not my idea of a good time.
It is when you take the drug.
I'm Dr. Drain. I am intelligent and worldly, not some ill-bred monster. I don't go gallivanting into godforsaken places to engage in depraved coitus and the consumption of dirty blood.
Well, you do, and you enjoy it, and that's fine.
It sounds to me like you're real good at denying yourself things. Well, I should be better at it. You know, Doc, a wise old vampire recently told me something I'm about to tell you. You keep talking about the things you should be doing. You, compadre, are shoulding all over yourself. Oh, well, that is vivid, isn't it? I can now add incontinence to my already considerable list of faults. I'm being serious. I'm listening to you tell me I should be doing this, and I shouldn't be doing that. But who gave you all them shoulds and shouldn'ts? I don't know. It shouldn't matter, should it? I've been dead for over 400 years.
Well, this is precisely what we're talking about. Of course it matters. This is right now, it's the thing that matters the most.
It's
Drain,
the oldest
please.
stuff that sticks with us, amigo. We all got traumas. Heck, we're dead men. That's traumatic no matter what. What we gotta start with is you. You've been through a lot. Don't rope yourself up so tight. Listen, we're doing good work already, I know it. Now, let's not push too hard. I would really like you to think about where all them shoulds are coming from before we meet again.
Yes.
And be good to yourself, all right, partner? Don't feel like you gotta go cold turkey on that plasma stuff.
Right amount, maybe get some rest, replace it with something that I suppose maybe makes you less. Because waking up, not knowing what happens to you, and then waking up to something is not quite good. I would say it might be good to quit eventually. You really should be aware of what you're doing, right? It's just reckless if you don't.
Yes, well, all the same, I'd rather not do it at all. Is that actually gonna happen, though? It might. You're dipping into it tonight, aren't you? I was thinking about it. All right, partner. Just give yourself a little compassion. That's all I'm asking. I'll admit, you've given me some things to think about. Not pleasant ones, mind.
Nothing's ever pleasant to think about, Drain. It is such as the process of thinking, but it's okay.
You can handle it, partner. You're way smarter than I am. Yes, well, that is certainly true. Very well. I shall do some reflecting, inasmuch as our kind can reflect.
Yes, that is a vampire joke, because vampires don't have a reflection.
I shall see you in precisely 4 weeks, then. Farewell, Sam.
4 weeks? 4 weeks it is.
Masterfully done, Samuel. I knew you would do well, but
Yatta.
that doesn't make me any less pleased.
30 minutes quick, be introspective or funny. I'm neither of those things. I've never have been. Because you're trying to make snob English vampire get over thinking intellectualism or more. I don't think it's intellectualism. It's like the snobbish English vampire has a drug problem, and he kind of puts himself on a pedestal as a bit of a god complex. I think that's kind of what we have to work with. And he denies himself a lot of just being able to be relieved from his perceived responsibilities that he puts upon himself that, you know, aren't really his responsibilities. The sex part is fine. The idea of fucking someone who likes sports is the conceptual nightmare. They don't just like it, they gotta love it, right? Because he woke up in like a jersey. He's got to love it. They've got to love it. To wake up in a jersey. Or have like a weird, you know, I'm not one to judge. My brain once again telling people to do drugs. I'm telling them to stop. I'm telling them to not do it. How's the game so far? Hello, our team. Welcome our team. CC Mochi's our team. Everyone say thank you to our team if you enjoyed the thumbnail art. Because this shit's gonna be, I'm gonna be using this shit for the next few weeks. Game so far is really good. It's quite, I think the aspects of the visual novel and the therapy minigame are beginning to blend together. I think at the beginning it was still a bit jarring, like it didn't feel quite naturally integrated into each other. But as the game went on, I could kind of see it merging together better. But I'm quite enjoying it so far. It's quite nice. When there's a time limit, every second counts. When you live for centuries, even great feats become common and minute. So an even greater feat is needed just to justify a sense of accomplishment. I will say that is something that might perhaps be resonant with people who perceive time that way. But I will say, it's the you're putting the a sense of accomplishment and meaning. You are tying it to the existential circumstance of your mortality, which is something that makes a lot of sense for us who are mortal people. I don't entirely disagree with that. That when you live longer, like if you live for so long because you're immortal, great feats just aren't, the greatness isn't as great because you see more. But this notion of accomplishment that you put in the later point of your comment is, I would say it's not necessarily, I would then ask where that sense of accomplishment is coming, like where is that coming from, or rather like why does one desire the sense of accomplishment to feel and do greater and bigger things? Because can you not be content with greatness all the same, right? And just kind of live, as it were, freely. You can tell I'm not great at this. This is session 1. Means that I not only slept with them, but we clothed ourselves in their jersey afterwards. Is it their jersey, or did they like ask you to put the jersey on? That I'm not gonna think about the semantics. something to that effect, yes. That's what it would say. I anticipate that's something that some of the vampires are gonna speak on later.
Well, that was a hell of a rush. That fella's holding on tighter than a holster to a gunslinger's hip. It felt real good to help him look at himself a little more kindly.
Good, Samuel. Treasure this feeling, but also rest. Go downstairs, get something to drink, relax in your coffin. Next week you shall see a new client. I think they will be an interesting challenge for you. I bid you good evening, Samuel. Rest in peace.
You too, Andy. Well, I guess it's time I got me some grub.
Some grub indeed.
Well, that's it, I guess. My first client. Can't believe I'm doing this therapy stuff already. Sure could
I
use
can't
a drink.
either.
I'll check in with Crimson.
Well, if it isn't Yosemite Sam, how you doing tonight, partner?
Better already, hearing from someone from the States who knows the lingo.
I'm not from any states, cowpoke. District of Columbia girl here.
Right.
I figured you must have been coastal. You sound a little more, polished than I do.
You should hear my German.
Maybe some other time. My brain's full tonight. I had my first therapy session with a real client.
Oh, yeah? How do you think it went?
It was great.
I reckon it was a bullseye on my end. You should have seen me. Labeling, blam, disqualifying the positive, kapow.
I don't think it's just about matching. I do understand the point of the game is to sort of gamify these elements, but I enjoyed listening to Drain kind of loosen up and think about himself a little more positively.
I'm glad to hear it. Someone has got to sort these vamps out. They know how to hold on to their problems.
You ain't kidding. Living or dead, once people hit 70, they get pretty dang set in their ways.
You know Andy still uses a typewriter? I can't get that gorgeous man to see the light.
A typewriter? Come on. Get a laptop.
Keep it up, cowboy. You're a breath of fresh air for these ancient ones.
Anyone ever tell you you're wise beyond your years, Crimson? You must have had some life.
Afraid I'm exactly as wise as my years. How old do you think I am, cowboy?
I don't know. 30? That was my guess, yeah. Don't fall for the trap. Oh. Mortality gives a rush to do things to give life meaning. There's the idea of immortality, just taking that away and isolating one because these centuries of materialism hurting the psyche. So that's the thing, is that the mortality giving life meaning bit is something I think I can resonate with the sentiment, but I'm not sure if it's entirely something to just, you know, agree to without being critical of. Because why does one's mortality give the life you live meaning? Or rather, like, life for the mortal is different from the life of the immortal, in the sense that life for the immortal does not end. And I think to extrapolate what makes sense in immortal conception of meaning and life and stuff into an immortal one, direct, like just like that, might not work. I don't know though, because again, there's all we can do is speculate on what immortality is like, I suppose. And immortality isn't just like extended mortality, although it may seem that way, right? It's not just living a long time, it's living forever, and it's coping with the fact that, like, you know, you're going to live forever, right? I guess you could kill yourself. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the vampire lore. You're not content to find life carries pain, then achievement is new. To balance the pain, justify continuing existence instead of the peace of death. Is it needed? Again, right? I would like to ask, because maybe there is pain, but I think death does bring a sense of peace, but so can other things, and that's okay. Like, it's sort of an eternal, it's like you have to kind of make do with the an eternity of change, as opposed to an eternity of, like, you know, stillness. The fluctuation is something you have to get used to if you're immortal. I would suspect. But beyond that, I don't know if achievement is precisely necessary to kind of live fulfillingly. Like, or rather, the achievement perhaps is like this desire for achievement is perhaps a very mortal thing. I don't know. Because, right, maybe it's like this achievement stamps us in this world as proof that we exist and we have done good and we have, you know, we've left our mark, per se. But you don't have to worry about leaving your mark if you're immortal. You've been here and you will be here forever. Living forever means you lose all your loved ones. They even find more. If they're immortal, you lose them too. Yeah, it is. That's probably what that means, yeah. But losing is, again, like a word that's kind of, you know, if they're not dead, I mean, them dying and passing on is tragic and uncomfortable and probably undesirable, but it's not like you're losing them, right? They go away in their final sleeps thinking of you, and, you know, in their deathbed, and it is what it is. And you might feel really sad about it in the terminus of life, but you know, they remembered you fondly, or you can remember them fondly. They had a good life, you know, etc. I don't know. I speculate a lot on what it would like to be immortal, because on some level I wonder if I would, you know, if given the opportunity, be willing to be immortal. And I think, despite being 60 years old, I feel young enough to speculate on immortality in a more positive light, perhaps. Baroness is asked by a woman to guess their age. Escapes to the guys, what I do, I don't know. Pleasure to balance pain, then people either seek hedonistic pleasure, ambitious achievement, someone, or somehow content in the mundane. I don't think it's just those two. I think that's a false. You know what I think that is? I think that's a Nosferatu thinking, actually. I don't think it's. I don't think it's just pleasure or like ambition. Like I think there's. I think separating what you can do into those two categories is a little. It doesn't cover everything. I think that covers a lot of things. It doesn't cover everything though. I don't know. And if it doesn't, I think it's kind of just semantic in that sense that like you can wrap a lot of things under ambition, and you can kind of wrap a lot of things under hedonism that may have disagreeable grounds. It's kind of like drawing lines in the sand. I don't know. That's, you know, not mundane, I suppose. It's also as if like pain is the inevitable thing to quell as you live through or as you experience things, rather than, you know, why is it that the pain needs to be balanced out and not the pleasure needs to be balanced out of life? I mean, I don't know. I think it was going to be immortal, being stuck at one age forever. I think the current age is a great age to spend eternity as, physically matured, but still. Yeah. I mean, I'm 60, but it feels good. If I were to be immortal, I think this age would be okay. I think that would work for me. I wouldn't mind being a little older even. Maybe 75. But right now it's good too. Regardless, it's also like, I think when if you figure out complete anti-aging, like completely not aging oneself, we can figure out the specific details of what physical age you want to be at forever, right? Wish I could live long enough to learn everything I want and I'm content to die. That's interesting, because I think I once thought that way too. Until I realized I did learn everything that or rather, I'll never learn everything that I want, but everything I'm learning is something I'm learning that I wanted, and like I'm really happy with that going on for a while. And so in that sense, while I share the sentiment, I don't think I'd be content to die right now. I think it's not out of the question for me to be content eventually. The infinity of it is something I think about a lot, but not in like a sense of dread or fear, like I have to do all of this. It has to be complete, you know? It's not like, rather than try to get all the achievements in the game, I'm happy just with each one popping up. I don't care to know how many there are in total, and I think knowing how many in total is a trap because you can never truly. And so you should just be happy with getting the achievements as you get them. That's how I feel. Imagine getting carded for the rest of eternity. That's what it feels like. Imagine having to get a job just because you need money to keep making fake ID cards to be able to buy alcohol. Dude, I had to like... No, nothing illegal, but like... I got carded twice. Can you believe that? I know. I'm 60. But I got carded twice trying to get a pint of Guinness. I got carded once when I sat down, and then I went out to get it, and I got carded again. I'm like, you just... It wasn't the same person. It was like a different person. I was like, I just got... I have to go walk back to my table and get my card and then come back. Like, I appreciate that you find my appearance youthful despite the fact that I'm 60 years old, but you know, it's a little annoying. I wish I could just get my pint and not have to deal with that, but it's fine. All right, I've avoided the question enough. You know what? I don't like the idea that we should avoid answering this question, you know, how old do you think I am, like when women ask them, because I think we should be truthful. I just think we should be truthful. I think youth is desirable, you know, in society, but that's not what you know, you're not more valuable because of your youth. I don't think that's the case at all. And I think we need to free people, women in this case, right? We need to free women from feeling like, you know, if I call you old, that's like a bad thing. That makes you like less valuable as a person. That's just not true. So I'm going to just go with what I said originally, and it said 30.
You're somewhere around 30, right?
Close, but very far away.
You're fucking with me, Crimson. Come on.
I'm 50 years young.
You're 50?
50? I died around that age and I look like shit. But you ain't a vampire.
Like I told you, I'm Andy's blood partner. He shares his blood with me too, just not enough to turn me into one.
Oh. Now that's a good deal. Now I see why people are. Now I see what people are. Now, all of a sudden, this went from, oh my god, vampires are terrifying, and they're going to, you know, kill everyone, to, okay, they can be they can be incredibly attractive hookup partners that make you more youthful, which is something you might like enjoy. Now that's a fantasy that people are going to think about. Not me though. Not me at all. Just say a younger age so as not get into trouble. You can't go too young though, because if you say the age that's like way too young, then it's kind of weird again. She's like one of the ghouls from Vampire the Masquerade.
I've been 30 for a good while now.
Been 30 for a long while.
But
Yep,
you
I
ain't
see.
joining our team? Sounds like a story.
Not for tonight, buckaroo. I bet you're thirsty after a big night.
A
Andy
little.
told me to give this to you.
What's this?
Oh yeah, what is it?
Oh, thank goodness. I don't have to do the whole extractions.
We had a group of Americans come in last week who donated their blood. Andy can't stand the stuff. He says the blood glucose levels are too high, but he thought you'd appreciate it.
Americans.
Oh, it ain't so bad. I gotta ask though, what does Andy's blood taste like?
To me, it tastes like life itself, cowboy.
I could
I
imagine.
ain't sure I understand.
Never you mind. Look, Tex, I've got some customers to serve, so go enjoy your juice, okay?
Oh, of course. I'm keen to get some rest anyway. You have yourself a fine night, Crimson.
Have a good night. It's so funny. Tell someone they look 6 months old. They don't know what the fuck. Imagine telling someone they look
There he
like
is, my
15.
incredible protege.
That might be worse. That might be worse.
Come on now, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Evidence stands against that reasoning, my friend. Do we need to talk about disqualifying the positive again?
Oh.
All right, I
Uh-oh.
get it. I guess I've been muddling through okay.
Today was a good day, Sam. Please.
You've been doing wonderfully. I hope you are ready for a bit of a challenge tonight.
More
Your next
challenges.
client has been known to be somewhat difficult.
Blood donation. I don't think I've ever donated blood. Now that I'm thinking about it. Not yet. I think it's. I don't know. I guess I should get that checked. I should ask about that. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Here, look at her intake form.
Isabella Deste. Dang, she's got some funny tasting hats.
It's a cool hat. Female from the Renaissance. 550. Isabella d'Este. Isabella d'Este was a key figure in the Italian Renaissance, funding the works of Leonardo da Vinci, Andrea Mantegna, and Michelangelo. She received a humanist education and knows much about history, art, music, and philosophy. Wonderful! Excellent. Why would she be difficult to work with? She comes from a highly aristocratic background, but has endured considerable family issues through the generations. She states that she's undergoing an existential immortality crisis, suggesting their life and unlife have both been meaningless. Oh boy! It's time. It's time. Up for the blood god. I need blood a lot back. And happiness 6 even after. Go donate. Do it for those who can't. I think you're right, yeah. I just haven't looked into it. And I'm not sure if I might have a history of illnesses, or things that might not be so good, or my parents and my grandparents who might have a history of that, and it kind of, you have to figure all that out. I don't want to do it recklessly. I do think it's a worthwhile thing though, so it's something I'll think. So it's something to for sure figure it all out. Well, I mean, if Isabella knows a lot about philosophy, then this session should be easy. I don't know why at all it would be difficult, and I've never at all encountered any fellow librarians that are incredibly annoying and frustrating to talk to. No, sir.
I think you should get along quite well then.
I think so as well.
Isabella is not your average vampire. She was once the powerful matriarch of one of the most influential families in Europe. She fraternized with popes and kings, and she also wielded great power over the art world. Some say that she was the model for the Mona Lisa.
Oh.
One of them highfalutin types, huh? I don't think she's gonna like me much.
She is as human as any of us, Samuel. I already know you will find a way to relate with her.
If you say so.
Remember, you can always seek my advice if you feel lost. You are not alone, but I hear the beating of elegant wings. Breathe, Samuel.
Breathe I shall.
Oh, and do be polite.
Politeness? Yes, of course.
Goodness. So you are the new therapist Andromachos told me of. I was not expecting someone so rugged.
Sam Walls at your service, ma'am.
You are a therapist.
Well, yes. I'm your therapist.
Well, that's what I'm here for, ma'am.
Enough with this, ma'am. I am not running a whorehouse. You may call me Senora.
That's not... I didn't think that was what you would address people who run it. Never mind. Senora. No, she said Senora. Senora. That's none of these. That's none of these. Cowboy, come on. This is the closest.
All right, Senora.
That's the closest, right?
You have seen my what? Have you been peeking under my skirts, young man?
Huh? What are you talking about, lady?
Signora. Say it.
Signora.
Signora.
That's not what she said, Sam. Try again.
Signora. Signora.
Signora?
Porca miseria. This is not going to be easy, is it?
Muy difícil. Sí.
Therapy ain't never easy, Senora.
So, therapy is always easy then?
I said it ain't never easy, Senora.
Sam, that's a double negative.
Is therapy easy or is it not?
Not, I guess.
Oh, how are we to examine my inner demons if your own speech is so diabolical?
Okay, Isabella, I know she's supposed to be someone who's hard to work with, but I kind of feel her though. I kind of get it. I don't know what this says about me.
You know what? Let's start over. Greetings and salutations, Signora. I am most honored to receive you in my humble office.
Very well. I suppose it will do.
I'm just here to help, Signora. It says here on your intake forms that you've been having a tough time lately.
A tough time? Indeed, yes, it has been a tough time. The realization that not only am I a corpse, but that I have been a useless corpse for nearly 400 years is a tough time.
Now, what makes you think
so
that?
what set off this feeling that you're a corpse?
I'm doing the thing. I'm already doing the thing.
I saw a film at the cinema.
Hey, I love the cinema. Well, not many of our kind are movie buffs. What are some of your favorite films?
I would hesitate to say favorite, but there are some films that are more acceptable than others.
I concur, Isabella.
For instance, Beneath the Velvet Dusk, or
I don't know
In
these.
Search of
I don't know
Sadness,
these. This is way too
engaging
highbrow for me.
explorations of the mortal condition.
This is way too highbrow for me, man. Beneath the Velvet Dusk or In Search of Sadness. I'm sure they're great films, though.
Oh, I ain't heard of them. You ever seen the Three Stooges?
You ever seen the Three
Utter
Stooges?
vulgarity. I do not waste my time with such nonsense. Alas, these Stooges 3 would be preferable to the abomination I saw at the cinema that made me realize just how dead I am.
Is it Dracula?
It was a most terrible film. one that shook me to my core. The pain of it lingers with me still 5 years later.
Well, movies can be pretty powerful. Heck, I remember seeing one of the first films. There was a train coming right for the audience. We thought we were dead for sure.
This film was not powerful. It was meaningless. It said nothing, did nothing, less than nothing, as loudly and garishly as possible.
I'm sorry, Isabella, but the current state of the box office, this is just every film.
And the audience, fools that they were, cheered, applauded this desecration of the mind.
You ever speak to the common folk much, Isabella?
I hate this film with all my being, for it has done the cruelest thing. It has revealed the dark truth. This life that I cling to has no purpose.
If this is a revelation of truth, then it's not so much that it's a meaningless film that is, beneath you. It sounds like it's a rather powerful one that's quite poignant, right? And you're just kind of coming to grips with it. Isn't that what makes it good? Or have you been enjoying films wrong, Isabella? Come on.
Dang, what the heck was this movie?
Space Wars. Rise of the Spacewalker.
Oh my god. Imagine a vampire goes from high class opera to someone who watches isekai anime. That's what she made it sound like. And if it's Space Wars, Rise of the Spacewalker, I think I understand a little bit.
Wait a minute. Space Wars, the big science fiction franchise?
The one we're not allowed to legally quote for copyright reasons? That Space Wars? The one with the neon sticks that they swing around?
Yes,
Space
I believe
Wars?
it is important to understand modern media diets.
I believe so as well, Isabella. I don't see why you're, where's the existentialism coming from, then?
But that's the movie that gave you your personal crisis?
Mind your tone. Do not think me a fool. I know it was not high art.
It was evident.
But the money it made, it would make even the Pope blush.
Ah. I know. I understand that feeling.
This stinking trash. This is what the people want.
It is. I think that's okay.
You see, I understand now. My attempts to infuse art with meaning were pointless. All that I am, all that I ever was, is dead.
You shouldn't let the box office numbers, disqualify the good that you've done with your art. Shit.
For such a complicated woman, the answers are overly simple for Signora d'Este, are they not?
I try to Andromachos help.
You see, I understand now. My attempts to infuse art with meaning were pointless. All that I am, all that I ever was, is dead.
It's quite extreme, so I think it's that's what that is, right? It's like you're speaking in extremes.
You don't seem that dead to me. We're having this conversation, ain't we? You ain't just lying there decomposing.
It is no different. I might as well be rotting in the ground.
That's not true. I think we're doing a lot of good work here. And if anything, this is quite an enjoyable conversation.
I think you might get pretty bored.
Are you getting smart with me, boy?
Look, I'm just talking facts. If you're saying all you are is dead, I think you might be doing some Nosferatu thinking. It ain't black and white. You're here. But let's go back to what you were saying.
Once, I elevated art, and all the world benefited. Why have I lost my power to elevate art now?
It's not true.
All the world benefited? There's a lot of people, and they got a lot of different preferences. You can't get them all, can you?
You can certainly try, though, and I think it's a noble attempt to try.
But I could, once upon a time.
No, you didn't. You thought you did. You didn't.
You can't reach everybody, Signora. I hadn't even heard of the Mona Lisa until about 1911.
And really, what do you think of as everyone? Because if it's everyone in your high art circle, then that's not that many people. It's a bit exclusionary, if you ask me.
Did you have any schooling whatsoever?
No, I didn't. But I don't think anyone in my
Sam,
time
you're
knew
really
about
not
the Mona
making it
Lisa either.
easy.
Oh, how wonderful. You add to my despair.
I'm saying you can't reach everyone, even in your own time.
That is true. I doubt the rabble had much of an opinion about the so-called great masters.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We only know what we know. But you were saying.
It was all for nothing. What good was guiding Da Vinci when they sell the Mona Lisa on beer coasters?
Oh, I feel that. Oh, I feel that. Oh, I feel it.
Oh, come on
Shit.
now.
Wait, no.
Just because the
I was
Mona
right.
Lisa's been on a coaster doesn't mean that's all it's ever been for.
Yeah.
I think you might be downplaying just what an impact you've had on the world.
The world needs no help from me to reduce my life's efforts to cheap commodities.
You ever heard of late stage capitalism, Isabella? You're familiar with philosophy. I don't think it should be a difficult read.
So just because something gets printed on a t-shirt, that cancels out everything that's good about it?
Yes, that is exactly what it does.
That's not what it does, Isabella. Please. That's not what it
I
does.
thought I was good at disqualifying the positive.
It should not be so. Art should have meaning, purpose. Beauty should expose truth.
I mean, I think I agree. That's what's rough. Oh, I think I agree, though. Imagine how she'd feel about AI art. Oh, man. Oh, man. If I'm frustrated with AI art, I can't imagine what Isabella must be going through. But are these shit statements? I don't know if that's necessarily it.
You're saying art should have meaning and purpose, but does all art need those things?
I don't like that, because this is kind of like, I know this is the therapy thing with it. I think that's fine. And insofar as it helps one cope with reality, that's true. But I do think that art should generally aspire to some sort of purpose. But like, maybe I'm just being her, you know, maybe I'm just being Isabella. I don't know. I'm not saying, you know, that all of it, if it doesn't do that, it's not art. But I think, okay, let me amend myself. I don't think all art needs those things, like meaning and purpose, but I do think all artists need meaning and purpose in some sense. That's what I think.
What is the purpose of creation otherwise?
How about if I just like doodling? Ain't that a good enough reason to draw?
It is a pointless reason.
Come on, Isabella, you have to be more charitable than that to his, albeit a little simple philosophical position.
Well, maybe I want to do something pointless. All I'm saying is that I don't have the same shoulds you do.
Perhaps you should.
But I don't. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Which is speak like a peasant.
Heck, that's what I am, Senora. Ain't nothing gonna change that reality. Let's get back to what you were saying.
But it seems I am just a dead woman. A walking corpse who is not worth listening to. I should walk into the sun.
At some point, it feels like refuting arguments and adjusting the underlying emotion. I agree. I was gonna hold off. It's good that you said that, because I was actually gonna hold off on saying that until towards the end of the stream, of this stream today. But it does, once you gamify it, feel less like you're listening to them to understand them, and more you're listening to them to figure out what's wrong with what they're saying. And I think there's a good overlap for both. But and the game's dialogue balance does it perfectly. It's just but you don't control what Samuel says. You only control what you identify with, and you can just like randomly click on them too. There's no like consequence for not getting it right. But when the game, because it's a game, at the end of the day, it is a visual novel. It tries to be a visual novel, ones that you play and stream. You having to click on this stuff, and that's all your input is, like not really much of the rest of the conversation, makes it so that it feels like all you're doing is picking out what's wrong with their arguments instead of, you know, trying to do that. But I think that you have to engage with the game a little differently than you engage with like don't try to meta game it. Do you know what I mean? Or rather, let me rephrase. I think what might be helpful to alleviate that feeling, because I think I agree that I'm feeling a little bit of that as well, is to just really immerse yourself in what they're talking about. And what I'm doing, for me at least, it helps, maybe also because I'm the streamer, I guess, is I'm taking a lot of time in between the dialogue to voice my thoughts, and, you know, pretend like I'm part of this conversation that I'm evidently not a part of. If art needs not carry meanings, everything can be art and renders the concept of art meaningless. No. It's a highbrow take. It's a highbrow take. Because I guess right, and you kind of leap to it, right? What does give art meaning then, if not, or rather, what's the point of art? Can there be no point to art at all? You know, and can we call that art? That I don't think this is. I don't think that's a point that's like I don't think there's we have a good answer to that right now, because there's a lot of debate between this, and I think I lie in the camp that's closer to your take, and Isabella's take to some extent. It is a bit elitist. I think I lie in that camp, but I'm sympathetic to the idea that entertainment can exist. And so in that, what I would do is, perhaps in an elitist fashion, mind you, say that Space Wars: Rise of the Spacewalker isn't art, it's entertainment, and that can have a space to exist, and those two things are not mutually exclusive. There can be some overlap. For example, I think this game is both of those things. I think it's both entertainment and art. Maybe it's a spectrum. We'll figure it out. Maybe there's a twist. Sometimes it should allow you to not directly challenge their arguments and say advance certain dialogues. Maybe, I don't know. But you're kind of like, but what you're supposed to do is identify their patterns, because the goal of it isn't to. This isn't a game that's like about the philosophy of it, even though it will involve a lot of that. It's a game about the therapy of it, and and this is like specifically going through CBT, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy, not the other one. Cognitive behavioral therapy, right? And when you're doing that, you're inevitably locking yourself into an approach to conversation, which is what the game kind of presents. And I think that's okay. That's fine. You know, that's what the game's doing. So it's okay, I think. It seems I'm just a dead woman, a walking corpse who's not worth listening to. I should walk into the sun. That's not true. You are not a dead woman.
Now, why have you got to go and call yourself names?
They are not names. They are my reality. I am a dead woman, and I am a corpse, am I not?
But you're also Isabella, and you're an artist.
Is that all you are?
This is how I am defined by the world.
Self-determination, come on. And also, it's not the whole world. You're being a little overdramatic. It was just, a lot of people.
Seems to me you're the one using them names. Hell, I think I'd be a little afraid of calling you a corpse.
As you should be. Allow me to continue. You make me sound rather mad. Like an old woman railing at the world.
That's not what I'm doing, madam. You're doing that yourself.
To no purpose.
Look, Senora, all I'm trying to do is show you where you're a little rigid in your thinking is all. You're expecting a lot from the world and a lot from yourself. It ain't no surprise that you're going to be disappointed over and over again.
I suppose that is some insight. Indeed, I have been in a state of disappointment from the moment I was 16.
Oh, you and me both, Isabella.
What happened when you were 16?
I got married.
Oh, okay, never mind now. Oh, never mind. That.
I think I get it.
Yeah, I think I get it too, but I wouldn't know.
You absolutely do not get it. You are a man.
Well then, help me understand.
Thank you. That's a good sentence. Thank you, Sam.
Frankie.
Please help me understand.
My husband. He taught me the meaning of disappointment. He taught me the world was built upon lies. These things men proclaim as values. Truth, beauty, the spiritual. They were all fiction.
Oh, we're getting a little nihilistic here. Okay.
But if men did not live according to principle, I would. I would set the example and shame them all. Yet, what a fool I have been to think humanity had greater aims.
So, what's this greater aim you're talking about?
I received a humanist education as a child. I was taught that the pathway to God was through rationality and a questioning mind, not slavish devotion to tradition.
I think that's interesting, yeah.
This world is not Eden. But it could be. Or so I thought.
No, I don't think it could be.
So you're talking about a literal pathway to God?
No, fool. A pathway to godliness. To live according to our natures. Our true natures.
And are we not doing that? Being a tally? You mean being a tally? You mean being nudists? Vampires, what do
You
you
mean
say?
being vampires?
Come now, boy. Nothing could be further from natural. All this foolish hissing and copulation and blood drinking does not bring us closer to God.
Yeah.
But it does give us more time to find the path.
Well, talk to me about this pathway to God. How do you reckon we find this path?
I reckon nothing. I've always known that we can find our way back to God by fulfilling our human potential to be the greatest souls possible.
This is a shit statement. Shit, it's not.
It seems that godliness is a pure binary for our dear Senora, isn't it, Samuel?
I reckon
Yeah,
nothing.
it does.
I've always known that we can find our way back to God by fulfilling our human potential to be the greatest souls possible.
So what happens if we don't become the greatest souls possible?
Then godliness is denied to us, as it should be.
So either we ascend or we're nothing, huh?
I am glad to hear you are not as foolish as you look.
Oh, let's be honest, Senor. Plain folks like me ain't got aspirations of being as good as Jesus Christ.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to try.
Ain't he supposed to be a forgiving sort anyway? Oh, let's just get back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
I have always known we must master ourselves and our baser instincts. Virtue must triumph over vice.
That should. Fuck.
You know there have been
I'm
many
not good,
entities
I'm not
over
good,
time
I'm not
that have
good.
tried to control humanity. They have all failed, and the Senora would do well to remember it.
I have always known we must master ourselves and our baser instincts. Virtue must triumph.
Right,
over
it is.
vice.
This is a whole. This thing is about. Yeah, it is. There's a control thing. But like. Yeah, I'm biased. I'm really biased towards her.
Been around a while, Senora. In all that
I
time,
feel too seen.
when have we mastered ourselves and our baser instincts?
Not a single day. Men especially have no bottom to their depravity.
Oh. I feel that, yeah.
All right, fair enough. So us fellas have disappointed you every day for a few hundred years, right?
Oh, it's been that way forever, but it will continue to be. It is what it is. Being very EP. Please go to sleep. Good night and farewell. Have a good sleep.
Ain't that proof that nothing you do is gonna change that?
An evil thought, Mr. Sam Walls, but true, I concede.
I wouldn't say it's proof, rigorously speaking, but it is like it strongly suggests the improbability, the unrealistic expectation that it could be achieved.
We're in agreement then. It's a little bit of a control fallacy to think that's gonna change because of you. Let's keep going.
I have always known that the earthly lives we lead are disgusting, and only war and death can come of them.
War and death of the earthly lives we lead. No, there's other things. Yeah, there's other things.
Hold up just a sec there, cowpoke. You really think all we can do is sow death and
We
destruction?
create art, just as, you know, you should be all the more familiar with that concept, Isabella.
I do not poke cows. Do I look like a farmer?
Come on, Senora. You've been alive to see what? 15, 20 billion people live and die? You really saying death and destruction is all each and every one of them ever amounted to?
Well, perhaps not individually, but as an immortal, I look at the greater arc of history.
Perhaps so, Isabella, but you miss out on the finer details. That's what you do when you look at the greater arc.
Well, most of us ain't looking to contribute to the greater arc of history, but that don't mean life's pointless.
Aspiration selves virtue, I reckon. Yeah, I think so as well. Most of us ain't looking to contribute to the greater arc. So.
That's some Nosferatu thinking, I'll tell you what. But let's continue.
I have always known the people have become fat and lazy, and living within the Garden of Eden is impossible in such a state.
It's not self-labeling, but you are labeling. I don't know what this is actually. Is it like... impossible to do that when the people are fat and lazy. Is that like a Nosferatu thinking? Fuck.
Our esteemed client is very good at coming up with names for others, isn't she? Perhaps you can call her out on this behavior.
Oh, I thought labeling was restricted to like self-labeling.
Sounds to me like you're coming up with labels for kicking people out of the Garden of Eden. Is that all we amount to? Fat and lazy?
Look around your own country, boy. Look at me. See my disgusting rolls and saggy features.
No, don't don't speak of yourself in that way.
Would you let me into the Garden of Eden?
Well, if it were up to me, yeah.
Well, sure, why the heck not?
I am glad you are not the gatekeeper then.
You rather have a gatekeeper who wouldn't let you in? Listen, Senora, you gotta go easy on yourself with them labels. Well, let's keep talking, though.
I have always known we should act with dignity if we would take our place at God's side once more.
I think this here's the meat of it, Senora. The filet mignon.
Filet mignon.
I fear your French is even worse than your Italian.
Here's the thing, Senora. Who came up with all them shoulds that'll take you to God?
Why, the greatest thinkers of history that I studied in my youth. Plato, Aristotle, Cicero, Aquinas.
They are pretty good, I will say. You could stand to read a bit of Kierkegaard, though. Soren Kierkegaard. My recommendation.
Sounds like a bunch of dead guys to me. They really had it all figured out way back when, huh?
I don't think they had it all figured out, but it would do good to read what they did, because even if they didn't figure all of it out, they figured something out. And it's a good starting point, isn't it?
Well, of course not. How foolish do you think me?
Not at all, Senora. Just questioning where all them shoulds are coming from. But let's keep going.
So you think you are so very clever, do you, boy? That by pointing out my distortions, you have won?
She's just like every other philosophy student.
That is where you are truly the fool.
Oh, man.
I already know how wrong I have been, that I have been chasing an impossible fiction all my life. Indeed, I now believe that even if we did follow the pathway to God, once we reach the end, we would discover that he, too, was a work of fiction.
Okay.
When I say God, I mean goodness, propriety,
noble
intelligence. God himself is a lie.
I see. So you've lost your faith?
Yes. It has crumbled to dust, much like myself in this fat, wretched old body. Beauty and truth are lies. Ideas developed by ugly men to justify their existence.
I don't think they're... You ever tried intersubjectivity, ma'am?
While we occupy ourselves chasing those ideals, they create space wars to leech our money and our vitality.
They do.
They call me judgmental. Well, they created the false ideal to judge against. You don't think I'm judgmental, do you, boy?
You have never seen anyone judge more than you, ma'am.
I wouldn't put it that way exactly. Besides, I ain't gonna call you names. In fact, that's where I think I want to challenge you. Senora, I think the person you're judging more than anyone is yourself. I know you got raised with all them high ideals, so of course you're getting disappointed when nobody can reach them. That's some heavy pressure. Not just on them, but on yourself. I'd ask yourself what all that pressure's doing for you. Is it bringing you any satisfaction?
I mean, this is therapy, of course. That's what the angle they take with this. I get that. That makes sense.
We can't always control what things are gonna be.
This is not acceptable.
Hold on, I know this one. What the heck she mean it's unacceptable to not be in control?
Oh, that's what she was replying.
Let's say that again, Senora.
I said it is not acceptable for things to be as they are.
I got some bad news for you, Senora. None of us really has the power to change the world on our own. Not even a clever lady like yourself.
Was I supposed to point something out? I just clicked to next. Alright.
I suggest we start working on ways of helping you find a way to accept the world for what it is.
But the world is base and unworthy.
The world is not based. The world is cringe and unworthy. If you see yourself above it, then perhaps you need to spend more time in it, is all.
Remember that term I told you about? Nosferatu thinking? You're gonna strip all the color out of the world if you keep doing that. The world's a lot more than just base and unworthy.
Nosferatu thinking. I am not used to having my own thoughts thrown back at me.
You did not have to debate anyone, Isabella? Come on. Come on. Let's be truthful here.
Well, that's why you're here, ain't it? I ain't gonna help you change the world, Senora. All I can do is help you find some other perspectives.
I suppose there is a certain simpleton's wisdom in the way you speak.
It's pragmatic.
Thanks, I guess.
Very well, boy. I will consider what you have said. We will meet again in exactly 4 weeks. Do we have an understanding?
Yes, indeed, Senora.
Sounds good to me.
Please learn to speak properly by then.
I can only
Well
promise
done,
to try with Samuel.
I believe you handled Senora d'Este quite well.
You kidding? That lady straight up hates my guts.
No,
Samuel,
she
if
was alright.
Isabella d'Este hated your guts, she would not be shy about telling you so.
That I believe.
Older we get, the harder it is to gain a different perspective. Have patience. We are not all as wise as Samuel Walls.
Guess it's just that simpleton's wisdom, as the Senora called it.
Do not adopt her labels, Samuel. I will not stand for it.
It's funny, but sure.
I know she was a challenge, but you rose to it as I knew you would.
Thank you, Andromachos.
I think you deserve a night of hard drinking. What do you
Hard
say?
drinking.
You don't need to tell me twice. All right, Andy. I'll see you later then.
Indeed, Samuel. Enjoy yourself. Excellent work tonight. Rest in peace.
Hmm. Can I save here? Hold on.
Dang, I think that's enough abuse for one night. I could use a drink and a quiet night.
I think there's a beauty to that, right? Okay, this is a good point. Yeah, this is a good point to... I did say, right? Yep. Okay. That's all I'm going to be doing today for this session. I think it was a good point to stop and go into it next time. I thought it was a good place to stop. I also thought like that there are some things I wanted to talk about and I want to make sure I talked about them before I forget. I'm also keen on doing multiple streams, so I don't mind the streams being shorter because I'm gonna do multiple vampire therapist streams. But so far, I really like the game. I think it's a great. I expected it to be more raunchy and less rigorous than it is, and in actuality, it's quite rigorous. You're really like looking for, you know, the thought patterns in there, which I guess is the point of it all. And you're tested on it, it gets gamified. One of the issues brought up earlier, or other things, points thought about for the game, is that it's kind of, it's too... At what point does it just become identifying what's wrong with their, you know, arguments rather than actually just talking to them? And, you know, and understanding where they come from. I think that's just the game element clashing with the like the limits of gameplay clashing with what the creators intended for in the game here, because it's kind of like they could, in a perfect world, vampire therapist, right? You would be talking to these clients in like a virtual environment, and they would respond dynamically to what you're saying in real time, and it would process so quick. But you know, this is a visual novel and it has its limitations, and so because of that, like the way they can get you to engage with it, I think, is through something like this, where you know, all you do is kind of just pick the choices for what you think is going on, and if you're wrong, you know, the Andromachos will come in and he'll correct you, and he'll be like, actually no, that's not the case, you should think about this a bit more. And you go, oh okay, it's actually this thing that's going on, right? And you're just here to kind of identify the thought patterns that go on in your clients, the people you work with. I think that's fine. I think that's okay. It does turn, if you think about it too much in terms of it being a game, then maybe that's a bit of an issue, or like something to think about that overtakes a lot of the other stuff that's going on in the game, in the dialogue. But you know, that's definitely something, it's like an understandable consequence of the nature of the game. I think that's totally fine. I really enjoyed the voice acting. I know there's some like names in here that I enjoyed from other series, but because they're doing performances for such different characters, I don't know where the hell I've heard them all from. I know the creator of the game is doing several of the voices himself. Who's also like, I think he did some voices for Hades as well. He was like Dionysus or something. I remember reading that, which is very cool. I don't know who he is. Everyone here is phenomenal, but I can't, because I'm not used to hearing their like accent work in this regard. I don't know who anyone is, but it was phenomenal nonetheless. Love the art. It's great. I can't tell if the game is too horny or not horny enough, because I think it's like, it's always kind of in the backdrop, I guess, but it's something that I sort of expected more of, anticipated more of that, but what I got was still more than, like, I was just kind of here for the therapy. It's all right. It's quite horny, but it is what it is. I think it definitely does not overpower the thoughtful reflection of the game, though. I think that's really nice. The first and second clients, I didn't think the first two clients would make me think about myself as much as it actually did, because it did, and I didn't think it would. It did. This is definitely going to make me think more about, or rather, okay, I found the second client difficult, but not in the way the game probably intended, but difficult in my position as the Philosopher VTuber, because I have a sort of sympathy for her position. Oh my goodness, I forgot her name. Isabella's position. A lot of what she's saying kind of like makes a lot of sense to me. I think I had to resist the urge to engage with her philosophically and more try to engage with her therapeutically, like as a therapist. And that is kind of weird / difficult / like, I don't know what, I'm not sure, because she does posit aspects of interesting philosophical ideals that I don't necessarily disagree with, but more so like I think can be added onto. I don't think it like that's all path to God and goodness and all of that. And then she kind of falls into like a nihilism that I think would be helpful if she examined herself in truth with that, and you know, took to the works of Nietzsche and all the others. But you know, she's ahead of her time, is what it seems to be. And so in situations where I'm like, hey, that's interesting, you should read more philosophy, is not quite the approach the game takes, because the game is taking the approach of being a CBT therapist, cognitive behavioral therapy therapist. And that's not who I am. I'm not a cognitive behavioral therapist. I'm a philosopher. And trying to kind of divorce those two things was very difficult for the second one, because the second one, the client kept engaging and mixing her own psychological, patterns of thought. She keeps mixing her patterns of thought with histories of thought that are kind of like argumentative and founded on, arguments and philosophy and thought. And that made it really difficult for me, because I would imagine if you had no idea at all what she's talking about, you could just kind of, tune that out and just look for the CBT in that. But I couldn't, because I couldn't resist the urge to constantly engage with her philosophically. And I think either of those things would work, right? Which is interesting because, therapy is great. And it's funny because I know people like Isabella. I've met people like Isabella a lot. Many librarians are quite like this, one way or another. It's one dogma or the next. It's one methodology or the other, right? And no, not necessarily all of them go in pathway to God, but some of them for sure. And I find that engaging with them through something like cognitive behavioral therapy can work. Maybe, at least in the game, it's showing me that I kind of buy it. I kind of buy the effectiveness of it. But I think engaging with them philosophically works maybe even better, because it engages with them in that same, it kind of it's weird. This is really new. This is really new stuff. What we're doing, and what Vampire Survivor is kind of doing, or rather, what they're demonstrating is this sort of clash between psychology and philosophy. Whether or not psychology has its own inner telos and how that overrides certain things in philosophy, and etc. That I just find it probably easier to engage with Isabella if she was, a person I actually had to talk to and work with. Maybe not as a therapist, but as just a friend, right? I would definitely engage with her more philosophically than the game does, because the game's kind of you play as Samuel and he doesn't really know all that. He's kind of I ain't all about this life, That's totally fair. And indeed, that probably helps shed some light on her perspective. But I will say, not all philosophers are that uptight and elitist about everything. It's not everyone. I like to think I'm not like Isabella. Maybe I am. Something to reflect on, I'm sure. Is it really? Librarian wanted more rigor, turns out less professional therapist, more of a master debater. I don't want to debate them. That's what I meant by rigor, but it was just more really think about that, because it's at the end of the day, it's a game, and how deep it goes just depends on the way it was written, and they probably didn't want it to be too centered in one thing, and they wanted to spread it out for other things and make it more digestible because it's a game, right? So that makes sense. It's not about winning the debate. I don't care about winning debates. It's not about that. It really is about working with people and helping people. So I guess while I masquerade under philosophy, what I'm doing is, a bit like therapy, in the sense that what matters is less about winning the debates and more about improving the way people are. I don't know. Is it really therapeutic to tell someone that this is the world, deal with it? That's not what I meant exactly. What I meant was isn't to tell them that this is the world, when I say engage with them philosophically. But what I mean is if someone comes in with an idea of the world, to expose to them all of the ideas of the world, or that you're not the only one who's had an idea of the world before. Look at all these people that come before you, and not just the big names, all of them, because it seems like she studied some of the big names, Plato, Aristotle. She got some Aquinas, I know a few librarians who are very into Aquinas, and indeed there's something to be said about the good philosophy that's come out of it. But it will do you good to look at the other perspectives too, and to be charitable to them, you know, not just I have found it, this is the philosophy, this is how it's going to be forever. Because while I think that is, you're engaging with philosophy, I would say you're not engaging philosophically. That's a distinction I would make. That which is very difficult to explain, so I'm not going to. But maybe you kind of like see it, right? Did Kara say the shortening for cognitive behavior therapy? Interesting to hear how the first two affected. You'll need to check them out. Yeah, I will say the first two definitely were. I didn't expect it to immediately be so to be so like related to so quickly. I thought it would take a while. I really thought it would take a while. But we just jumped right into my feelings, and I suppose we did. That's good. I like that. I enjoyed that. It was interesting. There's more to come. There's like 2-3 more clients, right, or something like that. But yes, there's a lot of people to work with. That's awesome. I can't wait to see more of it. I'm happy with how it is. It's made me feel a little confused in the way I should engage with it, especially the second one. But that's not. I don't think that's any fault of the game. Rather, that's kind of that's just because I'm the Philosopher VTuber playing the therapy game. Inevitably, there's going to be some clashes and hiccups that I wouldn't say I disagree with any of it on the perspective of, you know, the creation of the game and the way they handle it through cognitive behavioral therapy. But, you know, there's a part of me that's like, you should read some Kierkegaard, you should read some Nietzsche, you should read, you know, more philosophers, maybe even Kant, honestly. It would benefit you to read more than just Plato, Aristotle, Aquinas, right, Isabella? Like they're great. They got a lot of really interesting ideas, but I think they asked the right questions more than they gave the right answers. Well, right being facetious, but you know what I mean. Anyways, that's all. I thought it was really interesting. I really liked it. And I'm surprised at the depth that that I was allowed to engage in with this game today. Excited to see more. That's all. No more yapping from me. And I'll see you on Thursday to do a reading, Man's Search for Meaning. Maybe Isabella should read that. She's got, you know, she's lived 500 years. She's got at least another 500 in her. I'm sure she could finish the book in like a week. I think that would help her. You know, I don't know though. I haven't read it. We're going to read it on Thursday, so let's do that. And thank you everyone for joining me on the stream. That's all. Yeah, that's about it. People have you know what occurred to me just now is like people have outros and I've never intros and outros, and I think I did. I think for probably about 15 streams or so, I would begin by introducing myself through my identity as Karasu for No, the first and last philosopher VTuber, the last librarian of Alexandria. But then I kind of thought everyone understands this at this point. I don't have to reiterate myself. I don't have to repeat it. And jumping straight into the whatever's being presented on that day is fine as an introduction, but as an outro, what do I say beyond just that's all I wanted to say? All right, I'm leaving. Like, is that it? I don't know. What do I say? Librarian out. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Otsukare. What do I say? Smell you later. Something to think about. What should my outro be? Join me again. I'm about to philosophize all over the place. please check out of the live. Dude, no, none of this is gonna work. None of this is gonna work. This is all horrible. This is all bad. Or maybe I just don't need one. Maybe I'll just end by saying what happens next, right? Because there's always going to be a next thing. So the next thing is on Thursday. We're reading Man's Search for Meaning. That's what we're reading. That's all, folks. So yeah, I guess my outros are going to just be the prelude to what happens next. Next we're going to read Man's Search for Meaning. That's on Thursday. Please be there or don't, but the book is good. Yes, the book is good and people should read it, as I will on Thursday. Goodbye.